are live. Now I just need to make it shareable.
And I'll share it.
There we go.
I just shared it.
Okay. Right. And I was told to let Brooke Alkire know that just in case. She said, I will when I get off of work, remind me. I clock out at 4:30. I really want to watch. So I just texted her to remind her. Anyway, now we got 3 people on. Look at that. Right at, what was it, like 8:01 when we signed on.
We're all good, man.
So I think now I'm good and comfortable. Got 3 people on, 4 people on right now. Awesome. Look at that. Within the first minute, 4 people. Well, hey, guys.
Hey, he's welcome. A draw. That's all we got to say. He's a draw.
He is the draw. He is the draw. So, Marcus Weaver on already. Marcus, I got better on that one, buddy. I know you're watching. So, hey, everybody, it's Tuesday. It's Open Fields podcast night, as per usual, as every Tuesday or Thursday. I am your host of the Open Fields podcast, Ryan Fields. Along with me is Ethan Landis. What is happening?
Not a whole lot. As we were saying before we went on live, I had to find an old high school shirt, and she is a bit snug now. So yeah. But we're here. We're here.
We are here, and they fit, but they are snug. What shirt you got on there?
This is the homecoming for my senior year. So we played Mountain Ridge that year. I'm pretty sure we lost. So
gotcha. Well, I am rocking the 2000 JV Frankfort Falcons baseball jersey that I still have no clue how I was able to keep, but I was number 40. I still don't even know how I got that. But speaking of baseball, go ahead.
I mean, no one really has 40 Fields. I mean, do we really need to break your heart and tell you how you got that number?
Can you see it?
Yeah, the higher you get, the higher you get, the more you question. So.
Oh, way to break my heart. Anyway,
there you are.
So speaking of people that break my heart on a daily, call them Cecilia, I guess, but some people will get that joke. But anyway, so guys, we have a great guest this evening. We got the man, we've got the myth, we've got the self-proclaimed legend from Frankfort High School baseball coach, Matt Miller. Matt, what's going on, buddy?
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. A lot going on this week, obviously, preparing for Charleston and, trying to get these guys in a good mental space to go down and win 2 games this week.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know, Matt is the head baseball coach at Frankfort High School. How long have you been there, Matt?
Head coach 13 years, total 20. With being either an assistant or, being part of the program. If you count my playing years, it's 24, but been there for a long time, and, we're in a good spot right now. So something that, we're passionate about and I love. So it's a lot of fun.
That's great. Well, I think we talked about in the podcast last week, took Fairmont Senior to a 3rd game in the regional championships, won 3-2 to advance to the state tournament, which is coming up starting Thursday. You guys have a game, I believe, Friday, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, Friday, approximately 1:00. It's the first game's at 10, and then we are 50 minutes after said game. So, approximately 1:00 based on, longevity of high school baseball games. So.
Gotcha. And you guys will start off against the 3rd-ranked Herbert Hoover Huskies. So, and then of course the winner of that will play between the 1 seed Winfield, which we'll get into that, and the 4th seed. Who was the 4th seed again?
Independence.
Thank you very much. So, As I said, they got the 2 and 3 seed for Frankfort and Herbert Hoover. Winfield and Independence is the 1-4. So basically, Matt, just wanted to bring you on. Obviously, we wanted to talk about how your season has gone and talk a little bit about, not too much to you, like the big backstory of how you got started in your coaching career, but basically starting at Frankfort, obviously being an alumnus. Being in the program, we said 24 years now, which is crazy to think. And, we're getting up there in age, as E and I have discussed multiple times. He's just not as old as we are. It's just crazy to think. But just kind of give us a little insight to how Matt Miller runs Frankfort baseball's program, and how do I ask this? What really got you? Obviously, you are a baseball guy. You love baseball. What really wanted you to be the head coach of your home school, being an alumni?
Well, being part of the program, my father coached me growing up, all through Little League, all through my summer leagues. He was the first girls softball coach at Frankfort. We've always been a part of the Frankfort culture. And, as a player, kind of a sore subject, I made the last out in Charleston my junior year. And from that day on, it's been one of my personal goals is to be part of a team that hangs a banner in the gym. And I don't mean on the left wall, I mean on the center wall, the ones that, say state champion on it. It's been something that, it's been a goal of mine. And, I can no longer do that as a player, but hopefully with, mentoring these young kids, coaching them up, they can have the experience and the joy of bringing a title home to our school. To answer your question about, why I wanted to be at Frankfort High School, our community was great to me as a kid. My family was going through some things with my sister's health, and our whole Frankfort community surrounded us, supported us, loved us. And I just wanted to give back to that community that loved me and loved my family so much and helped us so much. And also, you mentioned I love the game of baseball, which I love more than I can explain. But to give that back to our players, our kids, that passion for the game, the passion for competition, it's been always something I've always wanted to do.
Absolutely, and as people know that Ethan was a player under you as well. What was it like, playing for Coach Miller? And that's one thing, as long as I've known Matt, I still do call him Coach Miller every once in a while. I call him abundance of things, but I do still call him Coach.
That you do.
But what was it like playing for Coach Miller?
I mean, I can sit here and joke all I want to, but it was a good time. As I said the last podcast, Matt was one of those guys that would always, start off with bringing you down, but always end with like, "Hey, but great job," or "Hey," like, it's always like a joke, and then, "Hey, but keep doing your job," or whatever. And I had a lot of fun. 2 of the most fun years of my life was my junior and senior years. And unfortunately, they did not end where we wanted our goal to be. But no, I had a great time. It was really fun playing there.
And with that being said, Ethan was a blast to coach. The kid, when he was a player, worked extremely hard. I was always on him. Obviously, you've heard him talk about him and I arguing over everything. That's in love. But as a player, that kid put his time in, and one of the better hitters I've got to coach.
And that's kind of where I was going to go with it after Ethan was done talking was, how as a coach, what was it like to coach Ethan, on the flip side of that? And of course you said, we'll joke around, we'll argue, we'll fight and, give each other a hard time about this, that, and the other. But, what was it really like? How many years did you have Ethan in that program? It was only one or two?
In high school, 3 out of his 4 years. He was a sophomore when I came in as an assistant for the second time. So I was an assistant before that. And then I also coached him to 2 years previously in his youth league hot stove team for Fort Ashby. So Ethan and I, he was a player for me for 4 years at the high school level, 1 extra year in the hot stove league, and then also, when he was playing college baseball, some summer league stuff, he'd work out with me and do some individual things with me there too. So we spent a lot of time in the cages and whatnot. Together. I know you talked about Dan Fridley's house and Scott Fridley's house last week, and that's where we did a lot of work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Heck, even I did. I'd stopped playing baseball at Frankfort in I guess it would have been my sophomore year. I was on JV team. And like I said, we'll come back to that 2001 season, which would have been my sophomore year. Don't like to talk about it. It's like the 13-9 Pitt WVU game. Like, I don't like to talk about it, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. But hey, Dean, what's going on, buddy? Dean commented. Dean, actually, we grew up and playing hot stove together, and we're in the same graduating class. And there's Marcus again and Miss Brooke. They see Miss Brooke. I told you we'd get you on here, remind you. And of course, Miss Chloe Kaufman saying we love Coach Miller. You brainwashed. I don't know what it is. Got these kids loving him and everything. But no. So basically, like I said, I kind of wanted to go over a little bit of how you got started. When you were getting started with.
One more thing, Fields, and I forgot to add this. And like Matt was just saying, like, you know, I put the work in, whatever, but you know, that wouldn't have been possible if Matt wasn't available after practices. I can maybe count on one hand how many times he said, "Hey, I have something else to do. I have to go do this, that, the other." And when he said that, I knew that was super important, because every other time I'd say, "Hey, Matt, can I stay after and hit?" He would always be there, and we would hit extra rounds after practice for hours. You know, I mean, and at the time they didn't have lights at Frankfort. We would be there till it was dark and we just couldn't see. So yeah, that's another part of it is anytime I always ask to, you know, okay, can we hit after? Or, hey, can you hit me more ground balls after practice? Can you do this or that or the other? He always was there to help me with that. So, and that's, you know, I could never thank him enough for that.
Well, I can't thank you enough for wanting to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to make his head too big too soon here. You know what I mean? So, we'll definitely get to that for sure. Cause, you know, there are a lot of good things out there, people. I don't know if you all know this, there are a lot of good things about Coach Matt Miller. So, but yeah, so Matt, obviously, like I say, coming back to your alma mater, coaching baseball, been 13 years now. How were your early seasons? What were your early seasons like, being a new coach, like head coach,
well,
I'll say?
As the first couple years as a head coach, I took over a team the previous season. Regular season was 3-26. The year before I was the head coach, but our playoff run, we were literally inches away from going to the state tournament. So I was the assistant coach on that team. You know, we were 3-26. The next year we started to build. And you know, when you're rebuilding from 3-26, you got to change culture. Even though Coach Alkire did a wonderful job, we just had a turnover of kids, where you lose so many. Like in 2010, we lost a very special group of seniors. Ethan was part of that group. We had, I think, 9 or 10 seniors, and when you lose that many, obviously you're gonna you know, lose some culture when you lose that many players. So we had to rebuild some things, and we won 13 games the first year, and then we've built from there. And then, you know, we kind of hit a pinnacle in 2019 in the state championship game, winning so many games we won that year, 27 games that season. The biggest thing when I took over was we started dedicating time in the weight room. Before that, we had weightlifting classes and things, but the summertime weight room was a change of culture that needed to happen. Coming from a college, you know, background, strength matters, and so that was one of the biggest things that I learned, you know, from there, and it's something that we needed to do. We had a lot of kids buy in, and that really helped develop the program. And then we can talk about a lot of different things, and we'll talk about the 2018-19 group and the kids that really started to build the culture back up. From You know, Frankfurt's always had a very good baseball program. We've had 1 or 2 down years over the past, you know, 20. And but the culture build is something that we take very seriously. We believe in a family atmosphere, and that's, you know, what we're trying to build. And you know, my first couple of years, that was the thing, is developing, you know, that family style and that discipline that comes with being a family.
Yeah, like you said, you come from playing college baseball and bringing it to your program. What little pieces of said like college baseball experience did you bring to that? Was it more than just the weight, the culture, like the weightlifting and all that?
A lot of hitting things that I picked up, little hitting things that, you know, can help tweak swings and different things like that. As you know, you spend a lot of time with film study of swings. You know, filming yourself and watching and correcting swings with film study is also something that I picked up at the college level that, you know, we still use. Blake Jacobs this year we made a little adjustment early in the season, and he's sending me videos. Is this what you're talking about? Like, film is very another thing that we bring back. Also, my coaching staff, we're all Frankfort alum at the varsity level, and all of us have either pro or college experience. So our practices are drill oriented a lot of times, especially early in seasons. Late in the year, you're doing your repetition stuff, but early in the year we have a lot of drill things that we developed from either college or pro ball. Tony and Greg Whiteman obviously being on staff. Mike Orndorff's been with me since I've started. So, we've had the same 5 coaches at the varsity level for a long time. And, all of us have either college coaching experience or pro playing experience or college playing experience. So that's a big help coming back from those. But film study, weight room are the 2 really big things that you need to do. And then there's this little things that you see that you learn in college from hitting instructors or pitching coaches that you can pick up a little bit that you can help kids with.
Yeah. So, and I'll ask this real quick, and I'll kind of let Ethan go for a little bit. Is kind of fast forward, I guess per se, is how have you taken, your film study and your weight training and everything like that, from a head coaching standpoint now to when you started, because it's obviously different. And, I didn't have that type of stuff whenever I was playing baseball, basketball in high school. Kids nowadays have so much really at their at their fingertips and the ability. And I mean, obviously we just lost the Wheelhouse Academy, which was a great thing for this community, your program, and it's a shame that we really lost that. Absolutely. So how have you taken that? Obviously that probably would be part of your answer, but how have you taken the things now that you have, like the accessibility of, the film study, things like that, to help build your program?
Well, just to give you an example today, our, Coach Whiteman, Greg, today sent video of Herbert Hoover's pitching staff to each one of our starters via Vex. People are putting things online that you can find. There's multiple games of each team on YouTube or Game Changer or whatever app there might be, that where we can get on, watch film, break things down. I know our kids spent time this weekend watching Herbert Hoover and Roan and Herbert Hoover and Nitro on YouTube. The accessibility today is a whole lot easier. When I first started coaching, even hot stove, we had to literally take a VCR camera, a VHS camera, film it, go into Gary Fridley's house, put it in, slow mo it. And Ethan, you're laughing because I know you were one of them. And, breaking down head movement and hand things and, going straight to the ball and different things like that. You had to fast forward, rewind, pause, slow mo. Now it's, you just slide your finger on the phone and go frame by frame with each, with kids. And it's at its fingertips. You don't have to, it's so much easier now to do that. However, the weight room part of it doesn't matter, what you have for, if the kids aren't dedicated in the weight room, it doesn't help. And what we have is a group of dedicated kids. It started, you know, 2015 and has continued, all the way through to now. Kids dedicated to the weight room in the summer. If they're not lifting with football 3 days a week or 4 days a week, they're lifting with us 4 days a week. And if you don't have dedicated kids, those things aren't going to be successful. And that's what, we're very fortunate. We have dedicated kids that get into the weight room and want to get stronger and want to be better. And that's really been a big benefit to us in the last, 10 years.
Go ahead, man. Yeah, I've taken my time.
Now, on that note, I mean, to be able to do what you guys can do now, back when I was playing, would have been something next level, because I would have loved to have been able to just break down every single swing that I took in the cage, and that because I pretty much every swing I was like, okay, what was that? What was that? Did I do wrong? And the ability to do that now is incredible, and I just wish we would have had that stuff back then, because it was still in its infancy. I mean, like you said, I mean, even whenever I was in high school, no one was filmed. Like, our phones didn't have these cameras where you can do this, that, and the other. It would have taken still a digital camera and breaking it down that way. So,
I mean, we didn't even have digital. We had the small DVD ROMs.
Yeah,
because that's what I had to use to film you guys.
Exactly. And that's what I mean is just like to be able to do it on your phone now is just so insane. And just you can like upload it to whatever, and then you can even take it home with you and break stuff down. It would have been awesome. I would have been all over it back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And to your point about the weight room, that is 100% true and 100% accurate. That was one of the biggest adjustments for me going to college, is because we didn't really lift a whole lot of weights whenever I was playing. We did a lot of reps of hitting. We did a lot of reps of infield, long toss, old school stuff. So, but yeah, to implement a weight program would have been awesome too. But we still did pretty well for ourselves at that point.
Yeah, you guys did pretty good. 20 or 17 straight wins throughout the year at one time. 27 wins overall. Yeah, you had a great season.
So I'm just going through some of these comments.
Make an appearance.
Oh yes, had to throw Miss Beverly on there. Give her the shout out to her baby boy.
You were talking about being thankful last week for your moms. Mom, love you. Wonderful. Yes. Supportive my whole life. She likes to tell people the story about when I was 5 years old and almost killed her in the backyard. Cut her ear with a baseball. So I hit it right back at her. She threw batting practice, I hit it right by her ear, and she's like, "No more. I'm done." So,
and your dad's probably thinking, I think we might have something here.
Well, he was at work at that time. That was when I was waiting to get on the bus for kindergarten. Because back in the day when kindergarten was half day, I had to have somebody throw to me. So she threw to me then, and then I'd wait for Dad on the porch at 4:30, and we'd go hit 200 more baseballs when he got home. So very thankful for both my parents, and they're a big reason why baseball is so important to me.
Absolutely, and it's like great that we can kind of continue last week, episode from the podcast, and she says, and then we got a pitching screen.
That's what I said. An L screen was invested in pretty quickly after that, I'm sure.
Yeah, shoot, I'm having a hard time not believing it wasn't invented at the Miller house.
Well, we had a batting cage in the backyard, and I wanted to fill the pool in. That was to me a pool waste of time when you could have put a batting cage there. But we had the batting cage on one side of the lawn and a pool on the other. Sisters had fun in the pool, and I hit. So,
well, let me ask you this, Matt, and I don't think I've ever asked you this. Is we talk a lot of baseball, whether it be from the high school level to the major league level. But obviously, absolutely, go O's. They weren't doing so well against the Red Sox last time I checked before we started. But I guess the biggest kind of question that I have for you is being a head coach of it's not mid-tier, but it's kind of middle of the road class AA baseball team in the state of West Virginia. What allows you, because we all kind of know, like you do a lot of your own fundraising as well to help really build your program. Like, is that like a biggest part of your success is to do that, being a small team or being a smaller school in the state of West Virginia?
Well, we're very fortunate. We have a lot of help. Our booster club does a phenomenal job. Lights last year has been a big help, big improvement to our stadium. And we get a lot of help there. Our parents are phenomenal with fundraising. We go to WVU and work concession stands and make $3,000 to $4,000 a weekend working the WVU football games. It's a lot of work, and our parents do those things to help our players, help our kids. Our whole community supports our Frankfort High School athletics. I mean, if you look at the Miss Falcon contestant groups, the last actually forever, but especially the last 3 years since COVID, the jump that we've made in fundraising for our school is amazing. Our administration's great. Everybody's all on the same team, and it's something we started the Falcon Way as maybe more of our mantra, which is something the baseball program started back in 2011, 2012. And it's grown to our whole community. Even the road's named Falcon Way now. So our new principal, Ori Poncione, is a big Falcon Way guy. So just the support with that. Now the double A and competing, obviously we have a pretty good program. I've been the head coach for 13 years. We've had, now that Cam Lynch just signed his scholarship to West Virginia Tech, 27 kids obtained some form of college baseball scholarship since I've been the head coach, which to me is more important than anything, is to give these young men opportunities to better themselves in their futures. We can talk about being baseball players all we want. We can talk about how many wins we have, how many, regional titles or whatever. But at the end of the day, we're trying to develop these young people to be good citizens and give them opportunity. And as a head coach, it's my job to get on the phone and call these college coaches and help the kids out that want to play at a higher level, that have the ability to play at the higher level. Um, I don't care if you're double A, triple A, single A. Your goal should be to better the players on your team as people, and that's something that as a head coach, that's my main goal.
But I don't necessarily think that that's what makes you a great head coach. I think it's what makes you a great human being. Is you focus more on those kids and their betterment and their future than just baseball. So yes, you can put a compliment counter down. There's at least one for you.
But coming from you, that's surprising. So
you guys changed the mantra to the Falcon way. I mean, because when my senior year, it was "you hang 'em, we bang 'em." That was our mantra.
Well, that was Corey Patterson. Tip my cap to Corey. How we got those on the shirts without getting in trouble, I don't know, but that was the mantra on the back of the shirt. But the Falcon way is not just baseball anymore. At first it was. It's went, all through our building. It's our mantra for our whole school now. And, it's based off of, dedication and integrity and just being loyal to being a Frankfort Falcon.
That's great. And like I said, you've done a tremendous job with the program. From when I was there in the late 90s, early 2000s, that same baseball field now, has lights, has a grass infield, a very well-maintained grass infield, a full fence around the actual outfield and not half a fence up way half the hill, or halfway up the hill and then a field goal post in 430 yards or feet, from home plate and right field. So yeah, you definitely done a great job with the program itself. And do you really kind of like with your success that you have had, I have noticed a lot of your scheduling. You're playing higher class schools. Do you really kind of attribute that to your success, or does it still come down really to the program itself?
When I first took over from Coach Alkire and I, we sat down and we talked about scheduling and we played when he was the head coach. When I first got there, we started playing Jefferson, Martinsburg, Hedgesville, all these big schools, because we knew we had to challenge ourselves to get better. The only way to get better is to challenge yourself, and if you don't challenge yourself and you play, I don't want to say weak teams because I don't want to insult anybody, but when you play teams that are larger, there's a larger talent pool to choose from. There's more players that are at a higher level, and to play those schools, I use the term iron sharpens iron a lot, and we play those schools to get better. The first time we beat Jefferson, and when I was the head coach, they had won 52 straight games in West Virginia, and little 467 student Frankfort High School was the first team to beat them in 52 games of any West Virginia school. And they have over 2,000 kids. So for us to do that, that was kind of the turning point. Brett Whiteman was the pitcher of that game. That was the turning point for the program to make the jump from being, just a very good program to now we're a state competitor. And we've been state competitors in the past. I mean, I could go through the years. Obviously, the 88 team, my 98 team went to the semifinal. 2001 is one of the best teams Frankfort's ever seen. 2010 was outstanding. I mean, there's 2018 and 19 getting to the state tournament. I know I'm missing some that were phenomenal teams. And we've always been there, but, now we're being pretty consistent over the past, we haven't had a losing season, in a long time. I guess, well, last year technically 13-12 at the end. But regular season we had a winning record, and the jump was when we started playing a really difficult schedule. We may not be 27-5 this year like we were in 2019, but if you look at our schedule and who we did not beat this year, you don't see a bad loss on our schedule.
So going off of that, how would you compare this year's team, which was what, 22-9? Is that correct?
We're 20-9 right now.
20-9. Okay, so
I hope
so
you're right. I hope you're right.
There's 2 extra wins, absolutely.
Me too.
So you take your 20-9 team this year. How can you compare, or can you compare, this team that's going back to the state tournament to your 2019 team that got to the state championship game against Bridgeport?
I was asked this question earlier today by Metro News, and it's a very difficult question because it's a completely separate group of kids. Some things they have in common. Very hardworking, determined kids. Guys that do the extra things, guys that spend the extra time off the tee. Like Ethan said earlier, they stay after and they do the extra work. Or they'll film their extra work in their garages and send it to me and things like I talked about earlier. Like they're willing to do those things. Um, we're we're very offensive minded like we were then too. We score a lot of runs. That's similar. Now, pitching wise, we had a couple really good pitchers then. We have a couple really good pitchers now. They're just different, completely different. We had an off speed sidewinder, Caleb Hare, phenomenal. Did a phenomenal job for us. Didn't break 76 at the state tournament, but got us to the championship game. You know what I mean? This year we got two guys thrown in the 80s. That's different. But the biggest difference between this year's group and 2019 is we are extremely young. We start 2 freshmen. We start 5 sophomores plus a DH that's a sophomore. With a DH being a sophomore, we start 2 juniors and 1 senior. So we're really young compared to 2019 when we were full of juniors and seniors, and 2018 when we were full of juniors and seniors. So that's the biggest difference, but a lot of similarities in the fact that our top of our order in 2019, Zach Whitaker and Caleb Hare were leading the state in several categories, and this year we have 4 guys that are in the top 5 in a lot of categories across the state. So Jacob Netting's our 4 hitter. He's had a phenomenal year. Cam Lynch is a senior leader. He's one of the highest batting averages in the state. One of the top runs scored guys. Lance Norndorf and Blake Jacobs is, I think, Blake Jacobs' second home runs. Lanson's one of the top guys in runs scored. So we've got a lot of very talented kids this year. We're just young, and then Uriah Cutter is one of the top RBI guys, and he's our 5 hitter. So just a lot of those similarities is that we fill the offensive categories very well.
So obviously, go ahead, E. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say offense has really always been our game, though. I mean, going back to 2010, we love to hit the baseball, and that's just kind of something that watching teams and being on teams that you've coached is we're very offensive minded. Put the ball in play, put pressure on the defense, put the ball in play, and let's see what happens. And we could. And just speaking from my experience in 2010, we could 2 bloops and a blast you, or we could hit the ball over the ballpark. It's something that we prided ourselves on doing, and I think that's something that you've kind of carried forward with the teams moving even after us. So I think that's very important to the game. I think that's kind of become Frankfort's brand of baseball. Is like, hey, we're going to put pressure on you. We're going to hit the ball. Let's see if you can handle it.
Yeah, and we still do those things. We're very good defensively this year too. As a team, we're fielding over 950, and our starters are fielding over 965, which is very high for a high school team. It's not great for a Major League Baseball team, but for high school, that's extremely good, and very happy with that. But yeah, our culture, Frankfort's culture, for a long time, even before you played back in our day, we scored runs. Pitching was not at a premium all the time, but we would put runs up. And even before me, when I was growing up, watching teams play, like when Chad Roy played and he was hitting 10 home runs a season, I mean, they just scored runs. And biggest difference now, though, is the bats are so much better.
Yes.
So much. I mean, they just don't have the pop. And the fact that these kids are hitting bombs with the bats that we currently are using is just a testament to how hard they're working in the weight room. because I mean they're basically wood bats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that was. Speaking of different changes that I told about before going into college baseball, I was in that first year of changes from BESR to BB Core certifications, and it was a world of difference.
Well, to age myself, I was in the first year, my freshman year of college, from no restrictions to the Beezer.
To the Power Core, the Easton Power Core. Was that the Power Core?
The Gorilla Ball. We had the C Core. They had the C Core and the Z Core from Easton. They had the Air Attack 2 and the black and green powerized TPX. So they went from that, no restrictions. LSU Gorilla Ball. If you look up statistics in the 1999 College World Series, it's disgusting.
And they had like 400 home runs that year or something like that.
Yes.
And then
are you talking about the Reflex?
The Easton Reflex was one of those too. Yeah. They were phenomenal bat. Well, they were dangerous bats. They weren't phenomenal.
They were too good. They were too good.
Yeah, they were dangerous. Now that's the game's safer, which is important. But these kids are phenomenal, and it's just a testament to how good they're getting.
Yeah, and I guess what I was going to ask before E was asking his question was, obviously this is a special group of kids. I mean, you're young, you're getting to the state tournament, basically for the first time in, a couple of years. But that was, in a way, that was, in my opinion, and I don't want to disrespect you at all, I feel like that was kind of expected. You knew after that 2019 team, and as great as a coach as you are, I do understand. Like,
let me cut you off here for 1 second. And I mean this, 2020 was loaded for bear, and then COVID hit us. 2020 was going to be special. We had a shot to go back and get it done. And then, obviously, how the world changed that year. Whether I think it's for the good or the bad, that's, a whole other discussion. But 2020, we were really good. And people forget 2021, we were one game away from being at the state tournament. We lost in the regional final to North Marion, a very good North Marion team who lost the championship game. So,
and like I said, it was no disrespect. It was,
but I'm just saying, like, those teams were good too. They just didn't get over the hump. And then, the last 2 years, we were right there in the sectional. If we would have won the sectional last year, obviously we could have had the opportunity, but Kaiser is very talented and still are very talented. And they got to where we are now. So they got us last year before we battled with them too. And they were just a very talented team. But like you said, our records were kind of, I'm going to use the term mediocre, but if you look at our competition, like you talked about earlier, our losses weren't bad losses.
Yeah, and like I said, there was no disrespect to you, the coaching staff, the kids.
Oh, absolutely.
just coming off of a state championship appearance. Unfortunately, you lost to a very, very good and very talented Bridgeport team, who's for some reason has always been talented. But that's a story for another time because we all
5 exits, 2 stoplights.
Yeah, exactly. For being the size, exactly. Yeah. So and like I said, I don't want to disrespect anybody by asking. But, as special as this group is, and to me, obviously, as a fan, as a former student at Frankfort High School, I'm always rooting for Frankfort sports. Doesn't matter what it is. Even when it comes to Hampshire Frankfort games, I know I graduated from Hampshire. I've told this story. I still do, somewhere deep down, I still bleed Columbia blue and white. And you guys can see my little man in the back. Again, he's wanting to play with puzzles and stuff like that. But anyway,
it was great. It was great seeing little man after the Fairmont game.
He was awesome. Excited. He really was. Awesome. So my question is as much as we know what can win you a second state championship for Frankfort High School, what is going to stop you from winning a second title for Frankfort High School?
Look, the game's 21 outs. We got to score more runs than the other teams. To get to Charleston is special. To win at Charleston is extra special. There's 4 really good baseball teams there. You don't get here without having high-quality players and high-quality teams. We're, our goal is to win 2 games. We're capable of doing that. We're talented enough to do that. Our pitching staff's good enough to get that done. But if you ask any of the 4 head coaches, they're probably going to answer that question exactly the same. Winfield's coming back from a state title. They're defending champs. They're going to be a tough team. Herbert Hoover's who we're going down to play. Very talented. Their number 1 pitcher, extremely talented kid. Had the opportunity to be in a dugout earlier in my life when he was a young kid down in Georgia for PBR. Tristan Harless, extremely talented player. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. Our kids have to earn it. It's not our coaches. It's not our parents. It's about the kids, and they're working hard. They want to get better every day. They have to earn that to get it. And any state championships earned. Nothing's handed to us. Nothing's going to be given to us down there. We're going to have to go earn it. I don't want to say what can stop us, but quite frankly, to get there special, to win it, that's extra special. And hopefully these kids get that job done. They're prepared. They're mentally focused. We're mentally tough. So those things are good. But baseball is baseball. And obviously we're going to go down and give it everything we got to win 2 baseball games. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Hopefully this year is our year. Our kids have, like I said, put the time in, put the effort in. They work really hard. They're great kids. And hopefully, they get to hold up that trophy at the end of the day. I'd really like to see them get the dog pile in Charleston. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be rooting for you 1,000%. Will be rooting for you. I guess I just want to ask, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of your kids are freshmen and sophomores. You've got a very young, talented team. Does the fact that you have that young, talented team where these kids are pretty much full of piss and vinegar and, ready to go and just excited, or does having the younger team kind of come with it negatives of that? Like, are they ready for that moment of here they are, freshman, sophomore kids against seniors who are going on to play a good bit of them are probably going to go play, upper level baseball. Is that something that could be maybe, something that holds you back from winning that state championship?
Well, this group of kids that we're talking about aren't, they know what success is. They're 2-time state Little League champs. They played down in North Carolina in the Tournament of Champions as 11-year-olds. So they're not new to a high level of competition.
Yeah, that winning culture. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, they're not new to that. The moments so far haven't been too big for them. We are young, but we're extremely experienced. Those sophomores that we're talking about and juniors that we're talking about, they started every game last year. They walked in as freshmen and sophomores and played. The 3 juniors that we have now, 2 of them are currently playing. One of them is injured. All 3 of them had varsity experience as freshmen. So we might not be senior loaded, but we are still experienced. And they have played on high levels, and they have played in high competition games. If you paid attention to the how they celebrated the regional title, we beat Fairmont Senior. A freshman made a great play at second base. Gunnar Bradshaw made a great play on a short hop, got the win. And most teams, are jumping around celebrating. Our guys ran to the left field line to run their post game sprints because it was expected. That's what they believed them to do. That's what they knew that they should be doing. Because when that win was expected. Now, I'm not saying that the state tournament wins are expected, because those are, like I talked about earlier, have to be earned. But so far, nothing's been too big for them. They handle it in stride. They handle it showing a lot of class. And hopefully that continues in Charleston.
Yeah, and that's really why I ask, is because going back to 2019, after that state championship game, and I didn't know much about the 2020 team either. So, that's why I asked about the whole, rebuild. And to me, I don't think you rebuild. I think you reload with the type of program that you run, and the type of kids and community that you have behind you. That's not a rebuild, that's a reload.
And it starts in our Little League. It starts in our Little League system.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, like I had talked about this group of kids now, those freshmen, those sophomores that won the state championship as 11 and 12-year-olds. That's the class of kids that I was excited for, obviously because I'm not knowing a little bit about after 2019, but that's when I was like, you know what, I think this is the group of kids that if they can do something when they're in their freshman, their sophomore year, this could be a team that could do some real damage and repeat or get to the state championship several years. I mean, they're playing these kids now at 11 and 12 and now getting up here. It's like this class, these kids can do some real damage. So that's why I was really excited about it.
Yeah, and I was excited about it too. I remember sitting in the weight room at 10 o'clock in the morning with last year's seniors. They were only freshmen, and we were watching the Tournament of Champions in North Carolina and watching this group of kids play. We've been excited about this group for a long time. Well earned. They were extremely well coached. They played travel ball together growing up. My assistant coach, Coach Mike Orndorff, had them from a young age. Coach McKenzie did a great job with them. They played on a group called the Potomac Valley Vipers, and they traveled all over the place, all over the state, all over the country, East Coast especially, not really the country, but the East Coast, and played a lot of games with those kids. And they've been playing together for a long time. And then you put an exceptionally gifted group of juniors in with that group, and then add Cam Lynch, our senior leader, who's been a great leader all year for us, with them, and it's just a great combination of kids. It's just been a lot of fun this year, that's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think that's like super important is them having that experience, like you said, and like the highest level of each like part of baseball that they've played at the highest level so far. I mean, Little League going to the state championship and winning it 2 years in a row, that's nothing to sneeze at. They have that winning culture. They know what to do to win. There's a difference of trying to win and knowing how to win. And these kids have shown so far that they know how to win baseball games. They know how to put games away. And I think that's super important, especially them being together this entire time. And that's the special thing too.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, we all have Frankfort. If you come to games now, you see people that have the word family across their chest with the Falcon as the F, and that's something that we believe in as a school. That's something we believe in as a program, and these guys have been together for a very long time. And it's just not that one class. Our juniors are super talented. We have very good senior leadership. um, Landon Kinzer got injured earlier this year, and he's one of our seniors, and his leadership on the bench and just bringing people up has been a big part of our success. Finding a way to help the team even when the worst circumstance happens, and Landon has showed people how to do that, and has been just a great leader. It's not just that sophomore group that has had all the success. We have so much talent, and we got freshmen that are contributing in the starting lineup that are huge for us. Jesus Purdue has been one of our hitters all season long. He's played every position we've asked him to do. He's done great. We brought Gunnar Bradshaw up the last few weeks of the season, earned a starting spot. He's been playing great. As a, stepping in as a freshman and playing in big moments, making big plays. So it's not just the one group. And yes, that group, I guess we could say is the quote unquote core, but the talent around them is what also makes this group really special.
I definitely agree.
No, 100%. It's just like I just know because I hang out with you guys all the time, and Coach Orndorff and knowing Lanson since he was literally 2 years old, like still too small to be our bat boy at the time, and my senior year, in when we won sectionals, he was actually in our picture, and the first time I saw Coach Orndorff, I think I was at the Martinsburg game whenever you guys played. And I said, hey, he's a little bit bigger this time than last time I saw him. So
it's funny you mentioned pictures. We have pictures from our previous 2018 and 2019 teams, and he was our bat boy. And it's only been 4 or 5 years. 5 years. The difference in size is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we know kids grow up and that's part of life, but like we actually recreated some pictures, which is pretty cool. Um, we have, before and an after, and of him, which is pretty neat to have. And like you said, you guys have known Lanson, since he was a kid, little kid, and he's a special kid to coach. And I could talk about every single one of our guys, but obviously since you guys have been here, Coach Orndorff and I have been good friends since we were young, and so obviously they've been a big part of my life. He's coached with me for all 13 years as a head coach, and he was with us as an assistant when I was an assistant. And when you're with somebody so long, um, you develop relationships. They're like family, and when I mean like family, we eat dinner together. They hang out at my house. I hang out at their house, whatever it may be. We've been watching wrestling together for years, as you guys know. That's where our relationships continue. Obviously, they start on the baseball field, but those premium live events and eating dinner together and having a good conversation, not really even paying attention to the TV, just the camaraderie moments. That's what's special.
No, absolutely, and that's just kind of what we've done the same thing. I think that's something that's been pretty special too. Is we've been able to carry this, our friendship on just since even before you were the coach at Frankfort, right? I mean, you came in. I knew you as a substitute teacher
Yeah.
when I was in middle school. You know what I mean? So I mean, going from that to you coaching to for us hanging out like watching wrestling and stuff like that, and then like just kind of continuing that with other people, it's just awesome. And that speaks to the culture that you kind of have there.
And it talks to, the family thing I mentioned earlier with the family shirts.
Yeah.
That's something that we try to develop, and we bring guys back to talk to our kids. This week, Brady Whitaker came and talked to our team. He was on the 2019 and 2018 teams that went to the state tournament. He came Saturday, spoke with our guys. It's just a continuation. Forever Falcons is something that we also talk about, and you talk about, I've been, I consider you one of my best friends, and we've been together since, like you said, 2007, 2008, something like that. And, but that continues. As a head coach or a coach in general, the best times may not be on the field, I think. It's those, phone calls over Christmas break. Hey, coach, can you meet us at Patrick's for lunch? Or, hey, we got a barbecue going up here. You want to come up and eat dinner with us? Those are the best moments, man. Um, those are the special times.
Oh, absolutely. And I can't count how many times that, I've been back in town or something like that. It's like, hey, you want to go get Patrick's or whatever, or like just go to your house and order Patrick's or something. I don't know. I mean, we've done all kinds of
A
stuff
lot
in
of wings
between.
have been consumed in this basement, that's for sure.
100%. Yeah, 100. A lot of wings have been consumed there for sure.
So what I miss?
Nothing really. We just kind of continuing the conversation. You said Cam knocked out the power cord.
Yeah. So the way that I have an extension cord that sits back in the back part of the room, actually over here. I'm trying to figure out right back in this area.
It's in the room. It's somewhere.
It's in the vicinity over there. And he was throwing his little beach ball up in the air and knocked it off the wall, and it just the screen went black. I'm like, oh, you little bastard. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. I had everything just shut down, and I was like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. So
it wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't have some sort of technical difficulties at some point.
Absolutely, especially on my end,
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
From the early days and having to record Abby Beeman's episode 4 different times, which that was so much fun.
Which, by the way, she said that she doesn't remember anything that you were talking about, and that she's open to any competition at any time.
I'm just saying, advanced PE. I mean, she's obviously a better basketball player than I could ever dream to be, but there were some horse games where, she definitely wasn't the winner. Parker Riley, myself, and Abby played horse every day. We had 7 kids in that class, and when everybody went to dress, they just want to keep shooting. So we played horse every day. She's a great kid. What a great mentor she's became for our young ladies in our area. Just spreading the love for the game, running basketball camps. She's a special person. She was a special person in high school, and she's just becoming more and more just an incredible leader in our community.
And that's the thing too, Matt, is that it doesn't just stick with baseball. It's like, you've had, relationships and just like made bonds with other kids in different types of sports too, like basketball, football, this, that, and the other. So it's not like you're just confined to your little baseball room. It's no, you're out there and you're, throughout the halls, I guess there at Frankfort, you're, I guess cracking jokes on kids like you used to do me all the time. And it's whatever.
I would never ever pick on kids, Ethan. I don't know what you're talking about. So, I don't have any sarcasm at them or anything.
No, none.
No, there's every year, you think you're going to miss all the seniors, and then there's just a new group of kids that put a smile on your face, and they keep me young, obviously, and it isn't just baseball players. I love Frankfort High School. Our kids are such great kids. Whether you were talking about multiple sports, it's not even just multiple sports kids. Teaching driver's ed now and being in the car with all sorts of different kids, you develop relationships with all of them. That's what's great about being a teacher, and being a coach is you get to have relationships and get to know these kids, and you can do things to help them out, to make them become better people. And Brooke, I love the volleyball team. I do, but I don't want to say I love them as they're the best. I love them all. Obviously, baseball's where my heart's always laid. But her volleyball kids are wonderful. The softball team's great. I mean, you name it. We just have great kids at Frankfort High School. Great people, great parents, great community. Like I said, the support that I got as a kid. Um, I'm 15 years old. My parents are in the hospital with my sister, and I had to ride everywhere.
Mm.
Whether it was Jill Edwards or Debbie Bosley or whoever it may be, my teammates, everybody. And that's why you asked me earlier, and I answered it then too. I'm going to say now, our community is why we have so many people come back. Frankfort High School's halls are filled with teachers that graduated from Frankfort High School.
Mm-hmm.
Our coaches are people that graduated from Frankfort High School. Our football coach, Coach Whiteman, his head assistant is Craig Scott. Both of those guys are Frankfort grads. You can go through his entire staff. You look at like I talked about earlier, all 5 of our varsity coaches are Frankfort grads. This community brings people back because of how good this community has been to all of us.
It's actually funny that Woody Snowberger actually just said, "Nah, I gotta love the cross country and track kids." I'm glad he actually said something, because my next question to you was,
let me say something about that cross country team.
Okay.
And Woody, you'll appreciate this. I have never been so happy to lose a bet on purpose. Actually, last year, Landon Sell, earlier in life, obviously I'm not a Ravens fan, and he owed me a Snickers bar for a playoff loss of the Ravens. But I told him, I said, if you win your state title your senior year, I'll buy the whole team a box of Snickers. I have never been so happy to buy a full box of Snickers bars than what I was for our cross country team. They unbelievable kids, and they work extremely hard, and they deserve it. And Woody, phenomenal coach. Coach Phillips, phenomenal coach.
Absolutely.
And you talk about dedication. I'm walking in the hallway this morning, look out the window, and I see Woody Snowberger in his orange tank top running at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that man's dedicated to his sport, that's for sure.
He really is. It's crazy what he's done. I mean, ran the Boston Marathon a couple of times, and
top 100.
Top
100.
As I say, no matter where you finish, Woody, it doesn't matter. You have ran the Boston Marathon, multiple times. The only time I'm ever running is if I'm being chased, and
Amen.
That's it. So
if I'm running, turn around and run in the same direction because something's chasing me.
Yeah, exactly. So God bless you, good sir.
Yeah, and Matt can attest. I only do 90 feet at a time. Let's just be real for a second. That's all I got.
Because 270 or 180 was never possible for you. So
whenever it was a trot, I was fine. You know what I mean? When it was 360 at a trot, I was fine.
That's why Matt's always been an OPS guy.
And I'm still a little bit mad at you, Ethan, by the way. I don't know if you know this, but I put in all those hours with you. I was willing to stay after and thousands and thousands of swings and thousands.
I know where this is going.
And you give your first home run ball to Ken Kogel. I don't have any of your home run balls. And, I'm not saying I was the reason why they happened because you put the work in and you're the one that swung the bat. But Ken Kogel, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought you would expect me to hit more than that. You know what I mean?
Do. And I did.
So, Ethan, right. You got some explaining to do.
Yeah. No, he knows. But yeah, he expected me to hit more. Is whatever.
I did. So I had to rash about that, obviously.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The arch nemesis, Ken Kogel.
So my question to you now is, even though I didn't know, or I don't know what it was like for the high school, I'm sure it was very exciting. Any state championship for any high school was exciting, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, tennis, track and field, cross country. I was getting there, I promise. And it is that I did see that banner up on the center wall, as a state championship, along with the '88 state championship banner. What would this mean, not only to your team, obviously, but to the coaching staff, to the players, to the families, and even the staff at Frankfort High School? What would it mean to them, in your opinion, to bring home a state championship on Saturday?
When you come back from winning the state title and you have people in the stadium and the stadium's filled, they're just proud to be Falcons. Our whole community is proud of our kids and proud of our Falcons. And what it would mean, to me, like I told you, it's been a goal of mine since I made the last out in 1998. It would mean a whole lot to me. It's something that I've dedicated a lot of my time to, not for me, but for the players. And it would be very special for me, for the players. It'll be a memory they have the rest of their life. It'll be something. I talked to them about the '88 team. The '88 team this year was honored at one of the football games. People don't forget the players on those teams. They still mention Danny Anderson. They still mention Tony Whiteman. They still mention Rich Gray. They still mention Steve Ujic. They talk about those guys in reference because they were a special group. And, 2 more wins and these kids will be remembered forever. And that's special. And it would mean a lot to our community because our community is so supportive of our kids. Hundreds of thousands of dollars every year they raise for our kids. They donate. They buy Rice Krispie treats, T-shirts, umbrellas. Our community is so proud to be Frankfort Falcons, and they're always proud of our kids. And it would just mean a lot to me to bring something back for our community that has given so much to all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And, being an alum, being someone that played on that same field as all those other kids, man, it would mean a lot for me too. Mm-hmm. So,
well, building on the family that we talk about, in 2019 and 2018, I had a very great group of kids that they were, I don't like to I use the term foundation a lot to the program, but there was groups before them, Ross Conley, Brett Whiteman, John Ackerman. That group was a very special group too. Garrett Weaver, just so many really good kids that worked extremely hard. But, to get messages from all those guys, good luck, coach, bring it back, coach, get it done, go get it, one more step, it just means a lot. So it would mean a whole bunch to finally achieve that goal that I've had since I was, 14 years old, to put a banner on that wall.
Absolutely. And I will be the first person to tell you, I've always told you, I was there in 2019. I was in the stands. I made that trip down to Charleston.
Yes, you were.
I unfortunately, if you do get to the championship game on Saturday night due to prior engagements, I wouldn't be able to attend unless it's at a certain time. But of course, I'll still be rooting for you and listening and probably watching more on my phone than anything. But, like I've always told you, man, I'm so proud of you, friend to friend, I love you, buddy. And, we are all rooting for you. Ethan, myself, like you said, this entire community has the backing your team right now. And
absolutely. And not just my team, the entire, our community supports our entire sporting
Absolutely. Yeah. Of course.
All
Absolutely. You're right. And this community, and it goes beyond even the high school and the sporting teams. Like it really does, and that's something that, I grew up in this area. I've been here, even though that short period of time I was living in Romney with my mom, and that's the long story as it is, but that is something that I have always really felt very proud of being from this area, is just how the community gets together, whether it is the smallest little group get together, at the fairgrounds, or, little league games, or if it's something serious, like, back when kid was, I forget what Miss Avery, with that whole thing was unbelievable. The support that young little girl got whenever she was going through her treatments and everything, it's crazy. And that's what I really love about this community and this area in itself, is it doesn't have to be sport related. It doesn't have to be anything like that. I mean, it's community, and we're all together. And
Absolutely.
But from a sports aspect, you've got my support, you've got Ethan's support, all the guys, Ken, Scott, Doogie, Marcus, everybody who comes to your house, whether it be for a wrestling pay-per-view or premium live event now. Or
we'll just call it the group message, the group chat.
Yes, the group chat. Or if it's Friendsgiving that I haven't been a part of for about a year or two now, and I'm kind of sad at myself for that.
Well, this year Friendsgiving was a little different because of girls basketball, but so you weren't the only one to miss out on Friendsgiving this year. We all did, but
Gotcha.
That's going to be definitely a tradition that gets back started this year. I know how you like that maple glazed turkey, so we'll make that happen.
I'm not even gonna lie, and I'd say this is, and I don't know if anybody else.
You
knows
don't get a physique like this without knowing how to cook. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You're right. True story. I don't know if people do know this, and I'm gonna tell these people, the 20 or plus that are watching right now. If you guys don't know, Matt Miller not only is a decent baseball coach, who, by the way, he is not a small ball coach by any means, which I found that out very early. This man can flip and cook, and it is ridiculously good. And if you've never had it, try this man's brisket. His brisket is to die for. It is fan-freaking-tastic.
I appreciate it. It's fun.
No. Don't sit here and be, modest and all that. Be Matt Miller. Be like,
right.
You're damn right.
I'll put my brisket up against anybody. I'll put my brisket up against anybody.
You be Matt Miller. You say how it is.
We did pulled pork for the coaches in the back this weekend. Very good too. Yeah, cooking's fun, man. Like, it's a stress relief. I'm competitive in everything I do. If we're playing checkers, if we're playing checkers, I'm flipping the board if you're going to beat me. Like, you're not taking that last piece. But cooking, one of those things, it's relaxing, it's fun, and just put it on the table for my buddies and watching the smiles, it makes my day. It really does. And I appreciate you guys coming. Those briskets are like $90 though. So anybody ever want to chip in, you just go ahead.
Oh, now it's about the money. Okay.
It's never about the money. It's about the time with my buddies. You know that.
Put that in your contract if you want a state title.
Well, that's one thing. Brisket. Besides, just the camaraderie that we all have, and just whatever. I'm never disappointed with the food, Matt. I will tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that. I obviously, like I mentioned, I work hard on this. So,
or do you?
No, I spend time with the smoker a lot. You know what I mean? And we can make jokes about meat, whatever, but not the time nor the place. So it's something I enjoy doing. It's something I like to do. It's fun. We all love food. I mean, who doesn't? So tonight made crab Alfredo for dinner. So treated myself a little bit. So happy about that too.
I made some smash burgers, so we're fine.
So mom's taking credit for. Hold on, my mom's taking credit for cooking. Let me just say this: my grandmother on my mom's side, phenomenal cook, and it's true what they say. It skips a generation. So, no, I'm just kidding. My mom makes phenomenal manicotti, Italian food, good stuff. But I've always
Mama Bev, if you're watching, we still love you.
I always pick on Mom about it. Matter of fact, she'll tell you the story if you ever see her about my freshman year of college about people being homesick because of the food, and I just turned around and shook my head like, "Nope, Mom, I'll be good." But and let me explain why though. And I know I'm picking on my mom, and she knows I love her, but the truth is, to that point, my family was so busy. We had 3 kids going in 3 different directions. Dinner time was never set. Either I was at a baseball field, my sister was at a dance review or cheerleading practice, or wherever they were. We were all different areas, different times. There was a lot of times where 9:30 at night was dinner. So obviously, when you have schedules like that, it's difficult. But I always pick on my mom. But when push comes to shove, you know, meals that matter, they were always good. And obviously, I didn't go hungry. So what's that tell you? And Becky, Five Guys, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know, fellas.
Love you, Derek. Look, one of the most important people in my life, my nephew Derek. Wow, if you know, you know.
Yep, that is a group chat story that will stay with the group chat.
Yeah, God love him.
he is a special young man, that is for sure.
You talked about other sports. Another love that we both have, and unfortunately, with my back, I can't do it as often as I used to. But spinning the ball down the lane.
Is it G word?
Not the G word, the B word, the bowling.
The bowling.
3 of us. All 3 of us are connected in the bowling, in the love for bowling, and
absolutely,
that's something that you talked about relationship building. That's a sport that you can do your whole life, that you just build relationships in. Some of my, most fun goof off times are with my bowling team. I mean, you were part of the Mafia at one time.
Oh, yes, yeah, we won the league.
We did win the league together.
Won the league.
Was that 2012?
I think it was 11.
11. We won it 11 and 12. Back to back Mafia champs. Frostburg City League. Some of the best times, Mondays and Tuesday nights up there in Frostburg. Obviously, it's a bond that we all share, and that was so much fun.
It was.
And I can't. And you talk about group chat things you can't say. A lot of the jokes in that bowling alley we can't talk about either. But some of the best times, man.
And any bowling alley. Let's just be real for a second.
True. I say, that is one thing. That's the one thing Matt does have over us, is he's got that 300. And
yes, he does.
Give me a second, boys.
I know. Yeah.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
I have a 299 game. I also have a 289 game that I recently had.
Yeah.
But there is the 300 pin.
We'll just sit with it here.
I wasn't there for that one. I wish I would have been there for that one. That's sweet.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a fun night. Great artist, Sean, Savage Cycles, now Savage Customs, does that artwork. Phenomenal guy. Something that's always I can always brag on you. I have better taste in baseball teams, better taste in college basketball teams, and as I've always said, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect game.
Yeah.
You've not done
for
that
now.
yet, so.
For now.
But yeah, I know. I root for you every time. Every time you send me a message, I look at it and you're like, I bowled a 680 or 720 or 8, whatever. I can't wait. Can't wait to see those numbers 300 pop up on my text message. I'll be the most proud person, because at the end of the day, I'm going to take credit for it, because I'm the one that got you started.
Hey, listen, and you will get the most credit for that, because you got me into bowling, and that is not a lie.
Are you going to give him your 300 pin?
Oh, no.
But you didn't give him your first home run ball?
I tell you what, I promise you this. If he gets one, he's got to give me the information, but I'll get him a pin.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
No, and I talked about this on the last pod. But no, Matt was who got me into bowling. I told him I wasn't going to play basketball my sophomore year, and he says, "Well, I'm coaching the bowling team, and you're bowling with me." I'm like, "You got it."
Yeah.
So,
and let's be honest, bowling. I know baseball was both of our loves, but how much fun was bowling alley in high school?
Oh, it was real fun. It was first year, didn't know what the heck I was doing, and then I kind of figured it out and kind of went from there.
Yeah, and now it's a major part of your life.
It is. It is.
So it's a lot of fun. I hope kids, I don't know who's listening right now. I can't see who it is, but if some of these high school kids are listening, I'm telling you, Coach Kogel has the bowling team now. Ken Kogel has it.
Yes, he does.
It's so much fun. And you couldn't ask for a better guy. Don't tell him I said that. But and bowling's so much fun, and it's something I hope more kids get into, because it is something you end up doing the rest of your life. It's funny how I got the bowling job. If you care for a quick story, I'm in the weight room with my baseball team. One of my first years being the head coach with my baseball team, or an assistant coach. That was with when I was still with Coach Alkire, and I'm sitting in the weight room, and Mr. Riley at the time was our principal. He was pedaling the exercise bike, and I said, Coach, I got a couple of kids still finishing up, but I have to get in Frostburg because we're starting a half hour early because it's playoffs in bowling. He goes, you bowl? I said, yeah. I said, I just started in league last 2 years. He's like, I need a bowling coach. I'll let you go if you apply for it. And that's how I ended up getting the bowling job, which I had for 11 years, and I loved it, loved every second of it. But some things changed, some time restraints, and took the freshman basketball job, and the rest is history.
And bowling is the only sport that I've found is that the more you know about it, the harder it gets.
Golf's like that too, because you start thinking.
I don't like golf as much because I can't hit the ball straight.
You suck at it. Yeah, yeah, I got it.
I have I kept a baseball swing, and it just draws everything. Apparently,
that's wrong too. I talked Tom Woods from Bedford, the pro up there. He talks to me in baseball terms when I go up and work with him.
Yeah, but other people don't let go of with their other hand on their follow through like I do.
Well, I got mad at you then, and that's something that I wanted you to improve when you were 16, and it's something you need to improve on now.
One of my best swings was the one-handed follow through.
You just were lucky enough to have the Easton bat that broke and was poppy as can be.
Yeah.
Ever tell you the story about the first time I bowled with Matt?
No.
Yeah, we went up to White Oaks, and this is one of those compliment times where Matt actually was really nice to me, believe it or not. And
I love you, Ryan. I just like to spit on
it. We went up to White Oaks, and I brought my two bowling balls. I brought my my usual strike ball, or as I call it, my strike ball, and I had my spare ball. And I think one of the fingertips had come out of the ball. And I mean, when I say it came out of the ball, it came out of the ball. And it popped and went down 3/4 of the way down the other lane. And we're looking for the bowling pro there, and nobody was around. Didn't have any super glue to super glue it back in. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be done after one game, so I got my spare ball out, and I ended up like only throwing like a 140 or 150 with my actual like curve ball, and got the spare ball out, and I was like, you know what? Screw it, I'll just use this.
You lit it up.
I'll be damned if I didn't throw over 200, with a spare ball at White
Oaks.
Oaks.
230. You threw over 230 in that game. You were ripping.
Yeah, and it was like just plastic strike or a spare ball. And I looked at Matt later on, and I was like, I hope that was fun. He goes, dude, he's like, I know you've been pretty good at a lot of things. I knew you were an athlete when you brought out that damn spare ball and threw a 230.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, but I walked the gutters to get you that daggone finger grip back.
Yeah, he did. He really did. He's like, you know what? I'll go get it. And I was like, Matt, don't worry about it. Somebody will get it. He's like, nope, I'm going to get it.
Well, the thing, and this is the people at White Oaks, Autumn and Mr. Gable, they're great. But, being a coach at Frankfort, and that's our home alley, they knew that I wasn't going to destroy anything, so they didn't care. Obviously, they were, generous enough to let us do that. But bowling's just such a fun sport to do, and it's a sport that anybody can do. Which is awesome. Even handicap accessibility in the bowling game is great. We've had kids in our high school league that wheelchair bound that still bowl, and bowl competitively, and we're good. So, and another thing people don't know about bowling, especially females, scholarship opportunities all over the place for girl bowling. Yeah.
Yep.
All over. Like, if you average over a 175 in high school for girls, there's somewhere that will take you and give you an opportunity, scholarship opportunity. So a lot of money in bowling, which is, pretty cool for these kids that really work hard at it and get those opportunities. All those things are great.
There's a big sign at Rainbow. It says like, bowling's the only sport you can start earning scholarship money at as early as 5 years old, which is 100%
5 years
true.
old. Yes, absolutely.
Because they have all those USBC tournaments for like the 5U, 7U, 8U, all those kids and stuff like that. And there's different divisions. where if you start winning those tournaments at a young age, you're just racking up stuff.
And to the comment about Doogie and nachos, is there anywhere you won't eat nachos, Doogie? Because
that's a short list of things that he won't eat nachos at.
Yeah.
With his pants on, hopefully.
Well, that's questionable, but I tell you what, that man can rate some nachos though. You ask him about nachos in ballparks, he knows them. He knows
I was
which
gonna
one.
say,
He'll
how do
tell you
you
which ones
rate
are good.
nachos? It's either good or
Well,
not.
no, there's levels.
There is levels to the game.
There is levels to the game. And he'll tell you, and Ethan, I'm going to give New York some credit here, but it's the Mets. Great nachos at the Met Stadium, Citi Field, phenomenal nachos. So
I'm not only saying this because I'm a Yankees fan, but the nachos that I had at Yankee Stadium that had like Carolina barbecue and stuff on them were awesome. They were really, really good because the new ballpark has like the chop house and everything there.
Nothing good ever happened in the Yankee Stadium, but okay.
Yeah, you're right. That's
yeah. So
the one thing about bowling though is that you might have introduced me to it and you might have helped me out through it. But why didn't you tell me to add the second hand sooner?
Well, because if you're talented, you don't need it. You can throw a 300 without the second hand. It's real simple.
I've gotten exponentially better by adding the second hand.
Well, some people would argue that that's cheating. I don't think it is. I think take advantage of it. Obviously, Belmonte wasn't a thing yet. He really hit big after you graduated. Now a lot of kids are bowling two hands. A lot of kids have been bowling two hands even when I was, finishing up in high school. And who knows, I might bring it back someday. I might pick it back up, coaching high school bowling again. Who knows? But a lot of kids started throwing the ball two handed, and the rev rates that they create, the pin action that creates, is phenomenal. Just unbelievable. So how hard these kids can spin the ball now.
Mm-hmm. And then you got guys. I'm not going to say guys, but guy like EJ Tackett.
Mm-hmm.
He revs it as much as anybody that with two hands, and he uses his thumb still, which is incredible.
Yep.
So, yeah,
he's phenomenal to watch. I enjoy him watching. Yeah. I know this shows how big of dorks we are. We watch bowling.
It's fun, man.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. So it's but it's something.
I'll watch curling. I mean, I'll watch darts.
No,
I mean, I can watch.
You're pushing it with curling and darts, my man. I can't do that.
Well, that's something that's tough to get into. Speaking of five guys, Derek just walked in. So, yeah, and I don't know why he yelled Tampa Bay sucks Fields, but whatever,
It is what it is.
Trying to get a cheap joke in.
Yeah.
I try to tell him all the time, don't try to be funny. So
that's usually when the best jokes when you don't try.
You've been telling him that for 15 years now that I've been around you two.
Well, yeah, he's unbelievable. No. So I talked about him being one of the most important people in my life earlier. He's definitely special. So
I see Doogie loves curling and nachos.
Yeah, curling.
I think he likes curling nachos, like curling nachos.
Let's be honest, we all love curling nachos. Then
that's for sure.
So.
Well, Matt. So I guess how do I say this? I mean, I got more time. We could, but coming up on an hour and a half. But so you, like I said earlier, you play Friday. I'm assuming you'll leave Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon.
Our kids, we're going to leave, and right now I'm waiting for a phone call back from WVU. I'd like to take BP on their turf, but as of right now, we're going to take BP at home on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. They're going to get on the bus, eat lunch on the way down, and then we're going to hopefully get into Charleston around 4:30, and then check into the hotel, and then go over to the stadium and catch the AAA games, eat dinner, and then lock and load on Friday morning. So unfortunately, I have to be at a mandatory coaches meeting in the morning, so I won't get to ride the bus, which is pros and cons. I'd love to be with our guys. Those are the special times. The bus trips are awesome. But also now I don't have to ride a bus. So, positives and negatives to those things. So, but mandatory coach meeting at noon for me, but our kids are going to be heading out around noon. Obviously, if people from our community are listening, if you want to cheer them on the way out, that'd be awesome. They're a great group of young men, great group to coach, great students. We always talk about student athletes and the students first, and our kids have a lot of great grades, a lot of 4.0s, a lot of 4.2s. Cam Lynch top 10 in his class as a senior, and our sophomores are just and juniors. Uriah Cutter is one of the top kids in their junior class. Phenomenal students. And as I always said, when you played, academics comes first, baseball comes second.
Yeah.
So
and there's those balloons again.
Yeah.
It's it's got to be the peace sign.
Well,
I don't know
for peace.
It happened to me a couple of weeks ago, and Ethan was like, "There are balloons behind his head. Like, where'd those come from?" I have no idea what I think. I was just like scratching my head or doing something, and balloons come up on behind my head. But anyway, go on. So, there went Coach
Hold
Miller.
on, I don't know what I just did. So
you hit a button. There you go.
Right.
He can coach baseball, but he can't control the phone.
I was trying to get a text message out of the way.
Gotcha.
That's all.
So the last thing I wanted to ask too is, so your game's at 10 o'clock on Friday. Where can we watch that or stream that? Do you know?
We're not at 10. We're after the 10 o'clock.
Oh,
game.
Okay. Sorry. 15 minutes after the 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah. West Virginia Metro News has a stream. So if you go to West Virginia Metro News, wvmetronews.com, they'll have a stream available. They also have an app now. They told me that today, talking to them. So there's an app available to where you can watch the game on an app. But school's out. I'm just going to reach out and ask our community for the support. Fill the yard up. Come down. Herbert Hoover's going to have a large group. They're 17 miles from Charleston. They're going to have a large section cheering, and it'd be great to see the Falcon faithful travel. I know it's a long trip, but it would mean a lot to our kids, and it'd be great to have that section nice and loud for the boys. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Being in the Eastern Panhandle, we're kind of out on an island when it comes to, like the state tournament and stuff like that, and it's kind of always been that way.
And it's kind of weird how the state works things out. Herbert Hoover played Philip Barber in the regional, and it's closer for me to go to Philip Barber than Fairmont Senior, but yet Herbert Hoover's going there. They're close to Charleston, but then Winfield's 20 miles to Charleston, 40 less than 40 miles to Herbert Hoover, and they're not in the same section. It's kind of weird how those things work out, where certain teams are driving 4 hours for regional games. They're driving an hour and a half for regionals when there's teams 20 minutes away. But obviously our state being as weird shaped as it is, we got to be creative. And so, I kind of look at it funny where we've got 3 teams within an hour and 10 minutes, and then we're almost 4 hours. So, that's, Winfield 20 miles or 27 miles, whatever it is. Herbert Hoover 17 miles, and then Independence is near Beckley. They have an hour and 10-minute drive to the game. Just a little thing about Independence. Obviously, I don't have a rooting interest in that game, but one of my college classmates, and he was a player assistant coach. I'm sorry, not a player assistant coach, but a student assistant coach is their head coach when I was in college. Scott Cuthbert. Just want to mention, him and today, and how cool it would be if that's who we see. Obviously, Herbert Hoover's very good, and so is Winfield, who they play. But it'd be pretty special to play against the guy that I went to college with, and bring back bowling. Scott Cuthbert, Independence head coach. We had very tough college schedules, being phys ed majors. We had beginning bowling one semester. We had intermediate bowling Tuesday morning the next semester. And then the next year we had advanced bowling. So we had to average over 100 the first year, 125 the second year, and 150 the third year to get A's.
Let's go.
but we spent 3 years on Tuesday mornings, every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock at the bowling alley in Parkersburg, West Virginia together. So, personal note, it would be pretty cool to play Independence. Obviously, they have to win their game and we have to win ours for that to happen. But whoever we got put in front of us, our guys are ready. They're mentally tough, and we're going to give it everything we got. So we're really looking forward to it. Our kids are excited. Our parents are very supportive, and they're excited. And just the support. One of our parents, Tracy Wagner, donating all of the regional championship T-shirts to our kids. Thank you very much for that. And Brooke Jacobs, former student, sister of our two-hitter and shortstop Blake Jacobs, is the one that designed and made the shirts. So thank you to all of them, and it's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and I think I speak for Ethan as well, obviously myself and everybody watching the community. We're definitely rooting for you, buddy. And me personally, as much as I'd love to see you play, get a chance to, obviously not putting anything past Herbert Hoover or anybody. As I've mentioned, I'd really like to see you guys play Winfield, top team in the state. I'd like to see you dethrone them. I'd like to see you get revenge from 2001. That still is a little bit of a pain point, even though it's been, 23 years. I was there, watched it, and that team was just, I know we didn't really speak on them a whole lot, but that really was one of, if not probably one of the best baseball teams at Frankfort High School.
Yeah, great baseball players. And I played with a lot of those guys when I was a senior. They were freshmen and sophomores, and they were playing varsity baseball then. So very good group of players. I mean, you can go through that whole group, and you got college athlete after college athlete, college, professional baseball players on that team as well. Phenomenal group of guys too, and good people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the biggest thing with that team was at the time, I think it was the kid was a year ahead of me, maybe it's like Doogie's class, Scott's class, the 2002 class. There was a kid, Daniel, I forget what his last name was. He was a student at Frankfort like the year before, ended up moving. His family moves and ends up going to Winfield High School, playing them in the state championship game and winning. And it was just like, Doogie might be able to answer that because Doogie's like a wealth of knowledge. Daniel Snyder. Yep. So see, I remember that the kid, Daniel Snyder was at Frankfort and his family moved to Charleston and played at Winfield and ended up being on the team that beat the 01 team. So I still remember that. But yeah, I personally would love to see you guys get a chance to exact revenge on the Winfield Generals. And actually a really good friend of mine, Brian Nickerson, lives in that area, and his kids go to Winfield schools and all that too. So
we got to get there first. So
absolutely. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch or anything like that, but I like to think that you'll get there from obviously a biased standpoint, but yeah, I obviously, buddy, no matter what happens, we're all proud of you. Doesn't matter win, lose, I don't care.
No, be proud of our kids. I'm just
absolutely
fortunate enough to write 9 names down a lineup card. They're the ones that play the game, man.
Yeah, we're definitely so proud of the kids, the parents, the community, and you especially. So, if you got nothing else, man, like I said, the only thing I can do is sit here and pet Matt Miller's ego of how good of a coach he is and how good of a better person he is.
One more thing, real quick, Ethan. I'm not sure. I heard a very loud yell over the weekend. I thought it came from the Martinsburg direction when MJF returned. Were you screaming? Were you the one screaming like a little girl that I heard from hundreds of miles away?
It might have. No, actually, you know what? I was I visited the folks for Saturday, so it wouldn't have been me from that direction.
Okay,
wouldn't have been me. But no, that was
That's probably why you heard him.
Yeah, maybe it was you were just closer, and I just assumed you were in Martinsburg, and that was you. So I figured you were fangirling it up.
I'm assuming you would, because I feel like he might be your favorite wrestler.
Well, on that side of the spectrum, in the minor leagues, he's definitely my favorite minor leaguer.
He's better than you, and you know it. I feel like that's. Well, did he call you for that mantra or what?
I had it trademarked. He paid well for it. As I jokingly say, and I did put it as my senior quote, I'm not cocky, I'm just better than you. And, it's kind of how we live things around here. But
wow, how does that not surprise me?
I'm just joking around. You know that.
Yeah, but you believe it for a second, though, didn't you, Fields?
I was gonna say I love it. That's Matt. That's Matt. That's the only Matt I've ever known. So
yeah, well.
Which, by the way, these hats, Matt, these were well made. They're starting to itch my head right now.
Well, first of all, you said you haven't worn it since 2010, so that's got 13 years of dust, grime, possibly bugs. Who knows?
Old teenage
now you don't have
sweat
to worry
from
about
me.
it. You don't have to worry about it being in your hair because you don't have any.
Some tears probably was in this hat too from that last
Yeah,
day.
that was. I will say this: that's one of the worst days as a coach watching that group because I coached you guys for so long. I worked so like you said, we spent so many hours together in the cages, and so many of you, Dylan Wagner, Corey, yourself. I mean, Jeff Conley. I mean, you name it. I'm missing people, Dalton Brown, whoever. How many hours we spent hot stove, and then your high school years every day until dark. I mean, it wasn't. You talked about you could count on your. I don't remember 5 days where you guys said, "Hey, I'm just going to go home."
No.
And Marcus Weaver, even though he still couldn't hit himself out of paper bag, he stayed with us and did what he did. And I say that lovingly. Marcus family. I'm Marcus doesn't know this, but we're going to try to recruit him as a volunteer assistant next year for our JV coach to be with our JV team. My new JV coach Garrett Kessner, great job this year, and he's really good friends with Marcus, and Marcus knows how important Marcus is to me. So I would love to have him come back and help the program. Obviously, he's got kids of his own right now, and we're going to develop those into future Falcons. Get your butt moved over here, by the way, Marcus. Living in that other side of the county, he's got to stop soon. But we'll
ways around that.
Yeah, there is ways around that, and we'll correct that. But so all those guys so important, and that was a very tough day. But I do want to say something about my assistant coaches. You mentioned the field earlier, Ryan, and how it looks. Greg Whiteman, Tony Whiteman, Mike Orndorff are why that field looks the way it does. Yeah, I'm the one that sat in Booster Club meetings and fought for grass. I'm the one in Booster Club meetings that fought for the padding and stuff. But without those three guys, it doesn't look like that. Tony's phenomenal with the infield dirt. Greg is the best infield guy when it comes to taking care of the grass and the lines. And Coach Orndorff is meticulous about the mound and the plate. Without those guys,
yes, he is. I remember that.
Without those three guys, that field isn't the way it is. And then the addition this year, I got the steal of a lifetime on eBay.
I heard about that, by the way.
85 foot by 200 foot AstroTurf for $150. You buy that online, you're looking at 12 to 20,000, depending on the condition. When we unrolled it, we didn't know what to expect. It's brand new.
Yeah,
unbelievable deal.
It's in real good shape.
Unbelievable deal. Chad Lindsay, another member of our community, picked it up for me with my help of my nephew Derek, and did us a favor. Just I had to pay for his gas, so he hauled it for nothing except for gas money, and then we put it in this year. It's been a great help. The lights last year added so much to the field and to the program. Our booster club, our county, big part of that. We moved bleachers down, so it took from 1976 to 2024. But by God, we have bleachers.
Yes, you do.
We need to add a press box. So we're going to do some fundraising and try to make some money to get a press box. So next year, when hopefully Ryan's streaming our games, we have a place for him to sit and broadcast. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you want to talk about that real quick about the possibility of
next year,
the infancy of this?
Yeah, our hope, and Ryan and I talked about it today. Our hopes to get some decent camera setup, do live streaming for our games, having Ryan as our play-by-play man, and maybe have Mr. Landis come down occasionally as a special guest, do some color commentary. But
Absolutely.
our goal is to start streaming our games. We talked about video being a help to coaching. It's also a help for recruiting, getting kids seen. And as I talked earlier, the thing that I'm most proud of as a coach is the number of kids we've had play college baseball. And that number is going to do nothing but grow the next 3, 4, 5 years because there's so much talent right now. But giving them, the best of everything is our goal. Our infield, in my opinion, is the best grass infield in the area. The Shape and Jewel press box is hopefully going to be built soon. And that man does a lot for our community too. He always supports our kids. He's always putting stuff out there, trying to get our kids recognized in every sport, both schools in the county. He does a phenomenal job, and I use the word phenomenal too much, but he's awesome. And that press box would be nice, especially in those nice warm March days that we all know and love. When the wind's blowing 40 miles an hour and it's wind chill below zero.
Sucked.
It's part of high school baseball.
Going to Southern in the beginning of April.
Oh yeah,
Garrett County.
Going to Southern in the middle of August.
Oh yeah.
But
when there's always snow, doesn't matter what month it is.
Yeah,
it was freezing rain when we played up there my senior year.
Yeah,
that sucked.
Yeah, that did suck. And one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life was your senior year there.
I remember this.
Austin Cook hits a grand slam. It hits a car over the fence in fair territory. The umpire, who I like, Kurt, good dude. He also does Southern High School's basketball book. Yells foul ball. And the car that it hit was 3 cars inside the foul line. Now, I don't know what's more impressive, the magic bullet with Kennedy or the magic ball of Austin Cook that swerved left by 35 feet. It went around the foul pole, Coach. No, it's impossible for a left-hander to pull the ball around the right field and it turned left. Still angry. Worst fall I've ever seen. And saying that on the day that Aaron Hernandez retires, what a day, huh?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh
yeah, man.
That also was the one of my longest at bats ever. I think I had like a 14 pitch at bat that game. That sucked.
And they were definitely the second best team in the area that year. Like that was the other thing. Like that game was basically for the area championship. We should have won 12-5. Instead, it was 8-5 because they took that grand slam away from us in the 6th inning or 7th inning.
Yeah, they had some kids on that team, man. Yeah,
their catcher, and for the life of me, that name's
Helbig.
Yeah,
Corey Helbig.
Great hitter.
Yes.
Unbelievably good hitter. He actually played Penmar with me, a couple years for Oakland. So great hitter, great kid. And that's a program that's just it's a baseball school. Southern's been that way for a long time. Coach Bosley, who I took a lot of things from. I've picked his ear a lot. Built their program, and then Coach Haller continued to build on it. And that's just been a good program for a long time. And I tell you what, area baseball and the Wheelhouse, we talked about the Wheelhouse earlier shutting down, but the Wheelhouse and the Arsenal, it has improved area baseball. Just in general, baseball is better because of the Wheelhouse. So I'm going to miss that place. They were great to us. The first 2 years in the exception that they were in business, you might as well just called us the Wheelhouse Falcons because we spent so much time there. Our players, that was the first group that went to the state tournament in 18. Nick Corwell, Wyatt Yates, Devin Lynch, Blake Rhodes, Zach Whitaker was on that team. Blake Wasson, those guys spent so much time in that building. That's how that building really, we talk about the foundation of that group being the foundation. That building and that business was really the foundation of us taking the leap from being a regional competitor to a state competitor.
Oh, I definitely agree.
So it's going to be missed. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Shane and Chad Corwell for that. And Aaron Laffey's been great. Aaron's still great working with our middle school team. And that's part of the feeder system that I talked about with our Little League being great. Our middle school, Trent Bradshaw had him the first 2 years, did a great job. Now Aaron's doing it. You know, our program's in a good spot, and it starts with the youth. Those coaches work hard with these kids. These kids love to play. I love driving past Fort Ashby and just stopping and watching games. You know, just coming home from practice. Practice ends 5:30, 6 o'clock, and catching a couple innings of Little League baseball and watching the smiles on kids' faces. There's no greater sport, man.
Absolutely.
That's one side. That's something that like I've noticed too more recently in the past few years is that it's kind of streamlined up from little league up through like middle school, like into the high school program now, as to where before it seemed kind of scattered, and then now it's we're kind of bringing like the community more together and like those kids more together. Does that make more sense, or am I just kind of talking nonsense?
No, the middle school team kind of bridged that gap when
Yeah.
we started middle school baseball 2 years ago. And also the Arsenal at the Wheelhouse, the travel teams in the summer, uh, kind of bridge that gap now. And Legion's back, which is huge,
Hmm.
with the older kids. But the Arsenal team and the middle school team really bridge the gap of those 2 years where you're talking about it being scattered. It
Hmm.
wasn't scattered from your 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, but that 13 and 14-year-old year when you're in seventh and eighth grade kind of used to get in a lost spot there because we had multiple hot stove teams. They weren't playing together. They were in different groups, different areas. And now that the middle school teams are there and the middle school league's there, which is a great league, for our kids and for the area as well. Now it's kind of streamlined straight up through. We can't work with the middle school kids, but I can obviously communicate with the middle school coaches, and they're doing a lot of the things that we do. And so it's kind of a streamline into those. Our bunt
Hmm.
sets, our first and third plays, and things like that. They start to learn those now in sixth and seventh grade instead of walking in as freshmen having to learn those things.
I still remember those, by the way.
It's not reinventing the wheel, my man.
I still remember those.
They've worked since I was 8. They're the same plays that we ran in Little League. Ralph Weaver, Paul Miller. You know, and I just mentioned one of the people most important that I lost as a kid, Marcus's dad, Ralph. He he's the reason I my father and my grandfather really love baseball, and I got they're the ones that introduced me to the game. But Ralph kept my love alive at a time that was tough because anybody that knows, and I have nothing but respect for my father as a baseball coach and as a person and as a coach, but we had our times where he and I would just argue and fight, and there was one really bad one, and I don't know if I'd still be playing or coaching, but Ralph Weaver kept my heart in the game, and gosh, when they say only the good die young, you aren't going to get any better than that man. And I all through college I wore 22 in honor of Ralph. High school I still wear it to the day, like my uniform number is 22. But as funny as it sounds, I haven't seen. I mean, obviously he died when we were 12, but you talked about bringing something back. I do promise you this: if we bring one back, I'll definitely be walking up the hill above my house and visiting Ralph's grave, and I know he's proud of me, and he's proud of his kids, and he's like their family's my family. Sorry, Mark, to get emotional, but it's just somebody I love and I miss daily. I mean, it's been 30 years. I can't believe it's been 30 years, but still somebody that in my baseball life and is something, as baseball is important to me as it is, he's one of the reasons that I'm still in the game. And, that may have changed at age 11 when I chucked the bat at my dad and, you know, may have never picked up a ball again because I wouldn't have been alive if it weren't for, I say that jokingly, but Ralph was a big part of why I still love the game as much as I do. So.
Yeah, and I actually I never actually got a chance to meet Ralph. I do remember obviously growing up in like A, B, and C team football for the Colts, obviously watching Anthony, but never got a chance to meet Ralph myself. So I just definitely kind of live vicariously through you guys that actually got a chance, and I've heard nothing but great things about Mr. Weaver, and it's actually somehow, and I get this a lot, especially from my grandmother who tells me all the time, like, you're related to that person. Well, apparently I'm related to Marcus. So
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, Ryan.
It's actually through his mom, if I'm not mistaken. So
the great Sherry Weaver,
it's
the leg wrestling
side.
champion of the world. Anybody that what used to be called Indian leg wrestling, the whatever the proper political term is now, she is unbeatable when we were kids, man. She whipped us all, and she did it laughing.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, Sherry, leg wrestling champion of the world. I'm not sure she was ever beaten, and I don't want to try again because I don't want to be embarrassed by, a woman of her advanced. But we'll leave that alone.
Yeah, as I say, you watch where that goes.
Yeah, I don't want her to whip my butt. So.
Apparently, my stepmom is related to you too. So Becky says your stepmom is related to us. So
I don't know. So Becky knows all that stuff. That's not my it's not my realm.
Gotcha.
I just
you just work here, Matt.
When everybody else was at family reunions, I was at a ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's the truth. I remember showing up in full uniform, eating dinner at 7:00 at night, and all my cousins were still there, and just filtering out because I was at a ball field somewhere on a Saturday during family reunion days. So, but Becky, she knows all those things. She's definitely caught up. My biggest supporter, for sure. Love her to death. She's been great. And Chad, this year, her husband is kind of like, I don't want to say our mascot, but he's been with us in the dugout and being just supportive of our kids. They're great, and I appreciate their support. Always have my Milo sweet tea for the games. So strawberry Sour Patch Kids too. Yeah,
Milo
sweet tea lemonade. I get the mix of sweet tea lemonade, the Arnold Palmer as they call them, and then the strawberry Sour Patch.
That's the move.
Yeah, ultimate Sour Patch, which I didn't think Sour Patch was going to be outkicked, but strawberry Sour Patch better than the original.
So there's a Sour Patch. I know you're a Sour Patch guy too. Did you ever have the blue raspberry Sour Patch? I've only seen it. I've never had it before.
Yes, blue raspberry. I've had the grape. I've had the peach. Had the apple, and obviously the strawberry, the watermelon. Strawberries number one.
Okay.
Grapes 2. Peach. I was so excited for the peach. Underwhelming. Underwhelming.
See, I'm a peach ring guy too. That's disappointing.
Me too. Underwhelming though. I was kind of disappointed in that. So, and the other thing, and this is Doogie's fault, but the chewy nerds, the big chewy nerds.
The clusters?
No, well, the clusters are good too, but the bigger ones that are just big chewy nerds, what they call them.
Yeah.
Yellow bag or green bag if you get the sours.
Yeah.
Like also good candy.
100%.
Yeah. So, that's something that we get a lot of candy eaters, a lot of sunflower seeds. Your typical baseball dugout. So all these kids like the sweet and spicy now. Sunflower seed. I'm still old school. Give me the dill pickle. Give me the Old Bay.
Yeah, but which dill pickle? That's because the Big's dill pickle sucks. I don't like the Big's dill pickle.
Really, the Big's dill pickle is classic. That's the way to I don't like I don't dislike the David dill pickle, but the Big's is classic dill pickle.
Those, I think that I like
a big dill pickle, do you?
Well, no seeds, but yeah. So I prefer the Bigs over the David in that case. But
I'll tell you what, though.
In that case, the original just salt, definitely going David, no doubt about it. Ranch going David, even though I'm not huge into the ranch seed, but the Bigs pickle and the Bigs Old Bay.
See, but have you had the David's Takis flavored now?
I've tried them. They're not bad.
Oh man, those are my favorite right now.
Yeah. The kids have them. They don't know I steal some of their seeds sometimes, but we do. They steal my candy. It's fair game.
Yeah.
So David Barbecue, like Doogie said, high quality.
If you haven't had a chance to yet, guys, by the way, the Smackin' brand sunflower seeds.
I need to try those.
Delicious.
Okay,
Love
I've heard I heard the flavor's really good, but it's like a zebra stripe gum.
So yeah, it is.
It's like 2 seconds of wonderfulness and then bleh.
It's a little bit more than that. And Braden even commented too. The Smackin' brand, yes, I tried them a couple weeks ago. Jimmy Twig actually brought him to softball game, and I devoured the barbecue. Now the dill pickle was really good.
Yeah. Here's the thing about baseball people. We've gotten more comments about sunflower seeds in the past couple minutes.
Yeah, as soon as we start talking about sunflower seeds.
You want to talk about baseball people and passion? You want to get an argument going? Argue about sunflower seeds. This argument can go on for days. Because that's what baseball people, that's what we do. And baseball people don't shut up. Anybody that is around the game, we love to talk. I mean, we're 2 hours in almost, and we could talk about sunflower seeds for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So to go on top of that, and then ballpark hot dogs. That's another question we kind of touched on last week. And in your comment sections and things I'm thankful for, hot dogs at the ballpark. Is there I mean, so many different treats across the country. I've been fortunate enough to be at 20 plus parks, and I'll tell you, I'm a homer for the SK dog at Baltimore.
SK for life, baby.
Not gonna lie,
for life.
I'm a homer there, but across the country, taking Baltimore out of the equation, because obviously Cal Ripken, SK, nothing's going to beat that for me. The Dodger dog, the steam bun, just unbelievably good dog, and it's plain. They don't give you all this extra crap on it. It's here's your dog. Put some mustard, put some relish if you want. Now I'll eat ketchup on a hot dog in the backyard. You'll never catch me dead with ketchup on a hot dog at a ballpark. But just it is what it is. But you're not going to beat a Dodger dog with just mustard and the bun, steam bun. Now the thing about that though, only 2 places in the entire Dodger Stadium that you can get the steamed bun. Only 2 of their stands. You have to know where they're at. So they're specific.
Well, let me know, because I'm planning on going there this summer in August. So
it's on. If you go, you got your Major League Baseball site that gives you all this stuff. This 2 sections. I think one's 220 something, but they will tell you which ones are steamed. One of them's right behind home plate. The other one's on the second level. So, well, in honor of Joe Alkire, take 2 and hit it to the right, Daddy. So that was something Coach Alkire preached.
So again, even though I'm not specifically an Orioles fan, the Camden, like the dog there that has the Old Bay
macaroni and cheese,
that one there. But I'm talking about just the specific dog that has the Old Bay in the sausage mix.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that one's next level. That one is next level.
Agreed. I don't count that one as the dog, as the official dog, because it's a sausage, not the ballpark, the typical Frank is known as. But yes, you're absolutely correct. The Old Bay sausage, it's if you take Utah Street, you come in on the Raven Stadium side of Utah Street, two vendors down, you can get that sausage really good. You can actually get those in Martin's too now.
It's the one that's like catacornered. It's like around it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can get those at Martin's now too.
Okay.
So they are special. They are special. I'm with you on that. That's for sure. Just ballpark food. We talked about nachos earlier, hot dogs now. Oakland Coliseum, which gets crapped on a lot because. And speaking of that, Doogie and I both got hit with bird crap in Oakland Coliseum. Interesting story there.
That's a compliment at Oakland Coliseum.
Well, but wood-fired pizza, Oakland Coliseum, top notch.
Okay.
Top notch. Denver tater tots in Colorado. They have a tater tots thing with different types of cheeses. Really good too. Been very fortunate to be able to go across the country to a lot of different stadiums, and obviously ballpark food is a great thing, but people in our area, they don't know how spoiled we are. We have arguably the two best stadiums in baseball. There's a couple that rival it. Doogie and I disagree on San Francisco. I have him in my top 5. He's got him in the top 2. Respectfully, beautiful park, but Baltimore, Pittsburgh, top of the line. St. Louis, great baseball town, great stadium. San Francisco, great stadium. Very underrated place that people need to go to, Detroit. The new Comerica Park, or no, it's not new anymore, but Comerica Park, awesome park.
That's what you said.
Yeah, I got to see
you were there for a no-hitter.
First combined no-hitter in Tigers history, and to say that the Tigers are one of the original 8
That's
teams.
awesome.
First time in team history they had a combined no-hitter, and got to watch that with my father and Doog. My dad, my best friend, so pretty special day up there. Doogie's foot was in so much pain with the gout, and it poured the rain on him while I was sitting underneath the awning. So he got soaked, and I was dry as can be. So good times there. Couldn't ask for a better ballpark partner than the dude. So Fenway's special, Wrigley's special. Not great parks, but they're just special. There's an atmosphere there that you don't get anywhere else. The old Yankee Stadium was just concrete blocks. That's it.
No history there or anything.
Not at all.
Monument Park was neat. I will say that. So
I'll take what I can get. Let's move on from that one.
I will say this, Ethan. I will say this. The New York Yankees are one of my favorite baseball memories of all time.
Uh-huh.
One of my college teammates, Jesse Wilson, was a huge Yankees fan. Me and my other college roommate hate the Yankees, as everybody should, as every good human being should. And proof that God hates Yankees. Most times when things in cities happen, their teams win. And 2001, Yankees, Luis Gonzalez fisting that ball off of the worst defensive shortstop in history. And that run scoring was beautiful. Jumped off the top of my bed onto a recliner that had Jesse on it. It's just celebrating the Arizona Diamondbacks win. One of my favorite baseball memories of all time.
I'll never understand why they were playing the infield in.
You're right. I won't either, especially with Rivera.
Yeah.
I understand that Rivera got a lot of ground balls and he broke a lot of bats. But with broken bats comes fisted flares. Like the ball just, and that's what happens.
If he's playing normal depth, that's just a routine.
For most shortstops, but for the smallest range in history, maybe not a routine play.
Let's be real. He catches that. But yeah, no matter how many replays I watch, I'm always like, if he's playing a normal depth, he takes 3 steps to his left and he catches that.
But that's a long way for him to go.
Yeah, it sure is.
Specifically.
But it just never made any sense to me.
No, it's funny. We questioned that when it was going on. Jason Scher was one of my roommates. He's a Cleveland Indians fan, or Guardians, whatever the heck they want to call themselves now. And he said, I don't know why they're in. And then the next pitch just fisted over top of shortstop, and 1 or 2 runs scored, whatever it was. And
it was 1 because I think it was a tie game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. But it was just proof that in 2001, one of the worst tragedies in the history of our country, and even God didn't want to bring joy to New York. So, maybe I'm evil, but it's kind of how I feel about them. So
still hurts, didn't it?
They were going for 4 in a row, and that hadn't been done since like the 60s. So
yeah, and I mean, when your pitching staff's full of steroids, and that's simple to do.
Sure.
So. I mean, Pettit and Lemons, both obvious.
Yeah, but I mean, you still got to throw the ball. It is what it is.
So as they said at the very, very beginning of this whole podcast, they do go back and forth, as you can see.
Yeah. And I hate Jeffrey Mayer. So Ryan, you do too.
Second that.
So, but
I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I've thought about getting like a Yankees jersey that says 96 and Mayer on it, just to piss you off.
Yeah, and if you showed up wearing that, they may never find your body.
There are 3 things. There are 3 things I do not like in my life: It's the New York Yankees, Pittsburgh Panthers, and Jeffrey Mayer.
Pittsburgh Panthers. Oh, Pitt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pitt. Sorry.
Yeah.
I remember I'd made a comment in the group chat about Mayer, and I didn't hear from Matt for 2 days.
Yeah. I'll never forget it. Horrible night. It was actually a homecoming dance at Frankfort and that night, and I was at Applebee's when that happened with a bunch of my buddies and angry that occurred. So it's one of those things. But
I mean, what was it? Still it's still like lost the series. What, 3-1?
it was at the time it was 2-2. We lost the series 4-2. It was a 7-game back then. Still,
I thought the DS was only 5 still.
if it was. We had 2 wins, so we may have lost 3-2. So, because I know the series, we definitely had 2 wins in that series. So, and the other one, that ball hit the foul pole. Nate McLeod hit the foul pole. So, but
I still remember that one too.
Yeah, plain as day hit the foul pole. I don't know how anybody could say it didn't. So,
I'll tell you who didn't hit the foul pole was Raul Banez. He did not hit the foul
no,
pole.
he did not. You're right. So, and neither did Luis Gonzalez. So,
yeah,
it
is what it is.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't go 2 hours without making fun of UE. So
it's whatever. It's what we're here for.
I know.
Yeah, you went 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah, so that's a record for me. Not
saying that is a record.
Yeah, but I appreciate you guys. Love you both. You know that. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Hopefully, with your guys' support and the rest of our, we can bring back, that banner that we've been, working so hard to get to. Like you said, Ryan, special group of kids, and hopefully this is the group that brings number 2 back. So.
Absolutely, and I've been saying it. I've told you I don't know how many times, even during this podcast. We're all rooting for you here on this side. This community and everybody in the, even in the chat, and everybody here in this community is rooting for you, buddy.
Hey, what was the high count for people tonight? I didn't.
I think it was
22.
I think.
Was it even that high?
Maybe I think
awesome.
so. Okay. Guys, draw. Well, that's all I got to say.
Absolutely, he really is
kind of a big deal.
I can tell you.
I texted Fields earlier and I said, if I didn't bowl Monday nights, we could have Matt Miller Mondays, which would be hilarious.
Well, I'll tell you this. Anytime you guys want, me. Unless I'm at a ballpark or a ball game, I'm in. We can obviously we sit and chat all the time. We send messages to each other multiple times a day. So I'm in anytime you guys want to do this, even if it's, obviously next time, hopefully it'll be talking about winning
the state championship. Yes.
But if it isn't, we can talk about anything. So, talk about wrestling, talk about whatever you want. I still got challenged. I forget the guys that helped me out, Ryan. What was his name? You had him on, big Undertaker fan.
Yeah. TJ.
Yes, TJ. Yes, TJ.
Really like that. That was a great show. Really like that guy. Shout out to him. I can't argue with him about the Taker because obviously you guys know my love for Taker. But
and you know what? Again, I'll ask you like I asked him. Does it hurt your soul to see him like dragged out there when he can barely move? Knowing how great he was compared to now.
Obviously, Father Time's undefeated, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So there's nostalgia acts, and then there's asking a guy who has no hips left to do 25 minutes. That's where the mistake occurs. It's not the 30-second spot that he just did with The Rock.
That's fine.
Yeah, those nostalgia moments. It was toward the end, and you obviously you were in my basement. We were all talking. We were watching the match, and you just said, "Man, this is painful."
Yeah.
Obviously, it sucks to watch a guy that you grew up, originally fearing. his first feud obviously was with Hogan, and I grew up in the Hulk Hogan red and yellow, even before red and yellow, when he wore occasional whites and reds and different things, the light blues. Like, I've been a Hogan fan forever. Growing up, I was the Hulkamaniac. I had the weightlifting set. I had the headband, the wristbands, the tape that played his song over and over. Like, I wasn't going to bed until I listened to "I'm a Real American."
You still
When
don't.
I was little.
Not Secrets untrue. Out, Matt. Secrets out. Secrets out.
I'm not arguing. Obviously, still say my prayers. Do my vitamins. Don't train anymore. And the
get that picture in your head, everybody. Listen to I'm a Real American. Matt getting ready for bed, staring in the mirror.
Yeah. But so Undertaker, when he first came in, hated him. But then as you get older and you watch and you respect his athleticism and what he did in the ring, love that guy. And was it hard to watch at the very, very end, especially like the Roman Reigns WrestleMania match was really tough to watch. And I think that was a multiple things. A, Undertaker out of his prime. B, Roman at the time wasn't as polished as he is now. Wasn't capable of carrying that match yet. Obviously his matches with Brock were horrible, but you're not going to get better than Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. The last one, Triple H with the Undertakers were great too. So you got to take unfortunately, like we said, Father Time's undefeated. So you got to take the bad matches at the end, but you look at the unbelievable matches that he had throughout his career. I mean, he carried WWE in a time where they needed carried because nobody else was there. So you're respecting. You got as Vince McMahon said, he's the guy you want in the foxhole.
Yeah. So, absolutely.
But it was kind of rough to watch. The last two WrestleMania matches were pretty tough.
Yeah, that's always been my thing. I've never disagreed with how good he was.
Yeah,
but that's what was not in like every time we had talked, I'd always complained about it was always because of how good he isn't currently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So. Yeah, and it was also, like I said, the type of booking. And in that world, obviously booking matters, and you can't have him do 30 minutes at age 55 with no hip.
You can barely have him do 10.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that was just bad booking. Obviously, and this is for a different time, and this is for a different episode. You and I don't see eye to eye on what's good wrestling anyway.
We don't.
So, choreographed dance versus entertainment, I guess, is how we look at it. Because you're not an entertainment guy in that realm, and I'm not a choreographed dance guy in that realm.
There's a way to meet in the middle, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I get you. But if you can't talk, you can't go.
That's
why MJF's so great.
He is. He's better.
Yeah, he's so good. But that's a different episode, and I'm more than happy to come on and do that episode with you. I really enjoyed
I think tonight. I want that. I definitely want that episode with you and TJ on it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I really had a great time tonight. Obviously, I've never had a problem with talking, as you guys well know. So
I've just been sitting here for like the last 35 minutes thinking, shit. I asked Brooke Alcar, I was like, so what'd you think? Just sent her a message. She's like, I loved it, but I got to get to bed. I'm old.
Yeah. I do want you to do me a favor. Ask your mom why she gave the shocked face emoji when Ryan put out that I was going to be the guest tonight.
I'll have to ask her.
I love that woman. She has one major flaw. We all know what it is, but the rest of her is perfect. And it's funny. Last week you were talking about being the house that you come once, you're a guest. You come twice, your family, and you got to do the dishes and things. Growing up, that was my house. I had to hide Swiss cake rolls so all my friends wouldn't eat them all. So
I think I have a feeling I know who that one person was.
Oh, it wasn't just one. There's a meme that goes around so often, and it reminds me of my young friends group that says, there's going to be a time where everybody's together for the last time and nobody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
I could name them all, man. Down in Piles Edition, the Fort Ashby gang that, I can name them all. And there was a time there, it was the last time we were together, and it's so true. But those are the best times. You talk about living in Romney for a little bit. You're always from the mean streets of South Central FA, Ryan.
Yeah.
And don't you
Yes,
forget
sir.
it. Born and bred, baby. So
Route 28, big gang right here.
that's right. Dan's
bang,
run.
bang, 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 Route 28 gang right here.
That's right. South Central FA, where it goes down. If you live on this side of the Dairy Dip, and on, you grew up on this side of the road on the Dairy Dip, and you also live on the other side of in between the primary school. If you're in that district and that's where you grew up too, so where I grew up, I mean, hardcore. You know what I mean? Like they say Compton's tough, New York City, they have no idea about the mean streets of South Central FA. That's all I'm saying. So south of the Dairy Dip, central, because we're not on the far side of the primary school. So
yeah, this has been a lot of fun, guys. I'm really glad we did this episode, and it was more of a preview and an appreciation for Coach Miller and his team and teams that he's had. Unfortunately, obviously being only 2 years, not 2 years, being 4 years behind you in school. Obviously didn't play for you, but I've been able to sit back and watch you coach, and definitely proud of you as a friend, my buddy.
You still got some tips though. You might not have played for me.
Oh, I did. I got some tips here and there. It was
more love.
of, it was a tongue lashing for sure, and really
made you better.
Get shit together.
That's all I'm saying. It made you better.
It did. It made me a little bit better for sure.
Challenge,
but and even though I did say mentioned something about being very proud of you and everything like that, I started getting more of go Falcons within minutes. I think I got like over a half a dozen people saying good luck, and everybody's rooting for you, as are we. Like I said, I won't
community in the world, man.
Won't be able to probably get down there to watch you, barring you get to the state championship game, but I'm hoping and praying that you do, and I'm sure I speak for Ethan as well. He's hoping and praying that you do as well. So
Marcus said his only tip was to stare at the glove.
But you're always welcome back on this stream.
All right. So let me one more story. I'm sorry. I know we're running over time.
Hey, we're good.
The Marcus Weaver about calling pitches, and this Ethan doesn't remember this, I don't think, but we were scrimmaging somebody, and Marcus was pitching, and he wasn't being Marcus. And when I say that, I mean Marcus was near unhittable at times. Unbelievable pitcher. Threw a complete game and threw 7 balls. Not like 7 innings, 7 balls. Not walks, balls. Mm-hmm. And shut a team out, right? Unbelievable. He, for some reason, got a mental block in a scrimmage game and just lost his confidence. And I said, Marcus, you're good enough to get these kids out when they know what's coming. And he was like, I don't know. He's just down. So I started literally yelling out to him, not signaling to the catcher, yelling to him, fastball, curveball, fastball, out loud. The whole park heard me. And he went and struck out the next 9 kids.
I do.
And I looked at him and I said, now do you have your confidence? Like, that's how good you are. Everybody in the park knew what's coming, and they still couldn't hit you. Now, some people said that was arrogant. Maybe it was, but it was to build the kids' confidence.
I think it was our junior year, if I remember correctly, because we didn't scrimmage many teams our senior year because we had that weird in between of basketball. It was our junior year for sure. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was just, for some reason, he got down on himself, and I just remember telling him, "You're so good that they can know what's coming, and they're still not going to hit you." And he's like, "I don't believe that." And I'm like, "All right, well, now I'm going to prove it."
Guess what?
And he was. And those next 2 years, between him and Jeffrey, there wasn't better pitchers in the state.
Yeah, I don't know. So the game where he said that he threw a complete game and he only threw 7 balls. I don't know what that game or the game Jeff threw 5 innings against Berkeley Springs and had 13 strikeouts. I think 13 or 14 strikeouts.
Yeah, that was impressive.
That was nuts.
the next night, I don't know if you remember one of the women from Berkeley Springs. Their fans were obnoxious back then.
Yeah.
She said that's all right. We'll come back tomorrow because you can't beat us without the lefty.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus is as quiet as Marcus is, and everybody knew that Marcus didn't say a whole lot when he played. Like, he talks a lot now, and obviously in certain groups he's talkative. But when he played, he was silent. He didn't say a whole lot. He struck that last kid out, looked at that woman, and goes, "Did we need the effing lefty now?" I'll never forget that as long as I live.
That was good.
Yeah. So,
that was, but the one game though with Jeff, we 10 run rolled him or something, and Jeff had 15 strikeouts in 5 innings or something. It was something crazy.
Yeah, and then he no hit Northern that year. Jeffrey did. Just good group of guys. It's funny. You think, as a coach, you think, man, I don't know how I'm going to replace those guys. And we don't replace you. We don't forget you. But it's like every year there's just a new group that bonds with you, that becomes the same type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You played for me. I consider you one of my best friends. The Whitaker brothers, they played for me. I played golf with them in the summertime. Nick Corwell played for me. Do all sorts of stuff, have conversations with Nick all the time. Just those relationships you build as coaches. Brooke can attest to this. The relationships matter. At the end of the day, they matter more than anything, to be honest. And like I said earlier, developing young people is the most important thing about being a mentor, about being a teacher, about being a coach. You can educate them. You can do a lot of things, but if they know you love them and you know that they know you care about them, you're going to be a part of their life forever. So that's what we strive for, and hopefully that's what those kids get. And obviously, Ethan, you can attest to this. I love you forever, and you're always part of the family. So with that being said, guys, I think that's a good way to end the night. Being nice to Ethan, which I hate to do. But
and there it was. There it was.
No, it was always tough love and then love. That's always what it was.
Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate you both. It's been a lot of fun, and I know Saturday night, hopefully it'll be a celebration, and I know you two will be two of my first texts. So
absolutely.
But
again, goes without saying, love you, buddy. Best,
awesome.
Best wishes. Again, whenever I get to see you guys play, again, it's like I'm still there with you guys. I'm still there pulling for you guys. So,
and I tell you what, with that said, it's great looking over the fence and seeing you when we're down in the Panhandle. Really is.
Absolutely.
And Ryan, it was great having you on the fence line, third base line with Cam, or Little Man as we call him. So that's always good. And
did you think I'd miss that?
No, I knew you wouldn't. But I tell you what was more important was the big hug from your son.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cam walked right over to him, and I was like, all right, buddy. I was like, go tell Uncle Matt, good job. And he just literally walked over, Uncle Matt, good job, and just gave him a big hug. Well, I say big hug, but it was like hugging his leg. But yes.
For Cam, it's a big hug. And, so it was special to me too. So just so you know that. But
it was definitely I didn't tell him to go over and give you a hug. I just told him to go tell you good job, and he just walked right up to you and gave him a huge hug. And that's just the type of kid he is. So
and he knows, he's welcome here too, as you do.
Absolutely,
because we always love him up when he's here. He loves my collection of old DVDs, Blu-rays.
DVDs.
Yeah,
it don't matter. DVDs, Blu-rays, doesn't matter.
Yeah, so he loves them, and we love having him. So, with that being said, the next PLE, everybody's invited. So,
Market cars, yes, he loves cars.
Yeah.
So, well, do us all a favor, man. Do us all a favor. Go down to Charleston, take care of business. For lack of better, just kick some ass. Do what you do. Be the coach you are. Be the man that you are, and bring home that state championship, baby. That's all I can say.
That's the goal, and we have the kids that can do it, and they're the ones that are going to do it. It's not going to be me. So,
absolutely. Shout out to the fellas. Bring it home, guys. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right,
well, guys, for myself, Ryan, for Ethan, for Coach Miller, thank you so much, Coach, for joining us this evening. Thank you all for watching, commenting, and go Falcons. And we'll see you guys next week.
Go Falcons. Night, everybody.
Night.